Hello.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, my dude? Oop. How you guys doing on this wonderful day? I'm here playing some World of Warcraft. How you doing, man? Good?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Just playing some World of Warcraft, walking back, doing the walk of shame. You know how it goes. Let's see. Where am I going? Alright, so I gotta go this way. Now I just gotta wait for this, whatever.
Or like a cheat sheet?
It's like a cheat, I think.
Wait,
I have a good
are
sheet
you
for
already
you.
streaming for over an hour?
Have you
Yeah, go
ever heard of
No, I've just started streaming. Like 3 minutes ago.
yeah, it's
What do
this idea that a
Yeah, more foul legal. Yeah, abortion should be illegal.
I think
Yo,
that
what's
we
up?
should have freedoms in this country, and to decide if a woman wants to have a child or not.
Okay.
I believe in choice.
Okay.
I don't
yeah,
necessarily. That doesn't necessarily mean that I believe in murder or I believe in killing the kid or anything like that. I'm
Twitch
a
is
freedom
talking
first
again.
person.
Okay.
Good luck,
Okay.
BTW.
So abortion should be illegal because
Freedoms.
I'm a human that have a right to live. It is wrong to me. I used to be a
I mean, I'm live streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, so, and TikTok, so you can watch me there if you want.
Could I make an argument?
I guess that
Okay.
like there's the woman's rights trump the baby's rights at that point.
Okay, so why does a woman have rights to unalive her child?
Because
KingSithis,
God
the
gave
biggest.
women the right to have babies, and that they have
Wait, are
control
you a
of their
Christian?
body.
Incarnation, you won't come here and debate me right fucking now.
Appeal
It's
to
a saying.
God.
Because
Well,
it's
why
a
He's
are
saying.
you bringing
arguing
up
from
God?
your perspective, bro. Just listen.
Yeah.
No.
So,
Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. Yeah, so
I
I'm
don't-
trying to understand where this guy come from.
I don't believe in God personally, but if you believe
You're
in God,
still
I
arguing your
respect
dumb
that.
utopia.
The point is that
Yes, I am. And it's not a dumb utopia. It's real, okay? It could happen, bro. Have you heard of Argentina? There you go.
Actually was just arguing this. Not arguing, I was just talking to Octavian about this. And a fetus is not a person. It might be a human being, but it's not a person.
Define it. Wait, define a person for me, please.
Sure.
Sure.
which
yeah.
has
So-
only faulty
we weren't
time,
really
so it's a
arguing.
bit
Yeah, no,
pointless.
No, yeah, we weren't
It's
arguing.
just
so
a
a
new form
person-
of government.
Well, it's a new form of government, but it's not a state. I differentiate between a government and a state. Government's government. I mean, technically, if you're on your own property and you have a gun, and somebody walks onto your land, you know, I would say that you're governing your property, right? So you're basically the government of your own property. But are you a state? Well, I would say no, because a state would involve some sort of claiming over some sort
Yes,
of
it
land.
is. The state is the government.
Well, yes, currently the state is the government, but I don't want the state to be the government. That's my thing. You know, the state is evil. The state forces me to pay into its system. I was listening to these guys debate about abortion, but they keep
What
like
borders would the government govern?
their own borders. The borders, the only border you're allowed to govern is the private property borders of your land in which you own. So technically, I'm not like, so for instance, if I had a big plot of land and I called it like, you know, Sithis land.
Exactly. A state.
Yeah, but it's not a state. There's a difference. Again, there's a difference between a government and a state. Government is just a person who, you know,
Where would
governing.
you like to fly to?
But that doesn't necessarily mean that the state is governing. Somebody could govern their own property without a state. If I'm alone on an island and another person comes on the island, I could force that person to do what I want. I would be governing that island, basically. But does that make me a state? Is every time that somebody governs somebody, that means that they become a state? I wouldn't think so. So again, there's a difference between a government and a state. I'm just against the current government right now because it's a state. And states are evil.
A bunch of private property owners come together, with a common goal, form a government, and the borders of each private property defines the state.
Again, but the state is not private property owners. The state is a criminal organization. That's what differentiates the state from,
State is
say,
an
a private
institution
property.
of theft. Does that mean that governing equals theft?
No, because again, like I said, government and the state is
LOL.
is not the same. So, like, if I'm a private property owner and I govern, and there's another private property owner right next to me, right? And we agree to protect each other's border, that doesn't just make us a state, because that's a consensual transaction. A state is a little bit different. A state doesn't do things based on consensual transactions. They do things based on
Yes.
force. So that would be a state, even if it's a consensual transaction? So every time a person owns a land,
I know.
they become a
I
state?
am trying to debunk the person who's talking to you on the other side. A state is literally a government. They are
no,
one
it's
and
not
the
the
same.
same. It's not the same. Again, if if a state was a government, then that would mean every single person that owns land and protects it is a state. Is that true? So if I buy a land and I use a gun to protect it, am I now a state because I'm governing my property? That doesn't make any sense. That would basically mean that every business, every person that owns a house, any person that owns a land is now a state.
If a bunch of people come together and say we will protect this area, and agree to create a government to manage the logistics of that, you have a state.
Again, then that would mean that every single person that owns a land and decides to protect it is now a state. What defines a state, differentiates a state from private property owners, is that a state is, one, not the owner of the land, and two, is not gathering its finances through the money in which it gets through consensual transaction.
If they make their own rules, sure.
Okay, so then every private property owner is a state, according to you.
What do you think kings do?
A king is not a private property owner. They are a king. They don't come through their land through consensual transaction or original appropriation. They force their will upon other people.
Yes, he is, ha ha ha.
If he is the private property owner, then that would mean that he owns the people in the land too, which would mean that you would basically be legitimizing slavery, which I would hope that you would not, you know, because that's how they viewed kings back in the old days. They looked at it like, hey, they're the owners of everything in the land, including the people. But again, they didn't get their land through consensual transaction. Generally, they got it through forcing people to do what they want. Bro, this is gonna take forever. Incarnation, why don't you hop on Discord and argue with me about this and over VC as opposed to, you know? Or is your asshole still gaping from the last ass fucking that I gave you on when I debated you?
No one today would quote-unquote gain their land through just means. Your point is irrelevant. Well said.
That's not true. If that was true, again, are you meaning to tell me that nobody gains their land through voluntary transaction, or nobody buys their land from one owner to the other? Nobody homesteads land that isn't already owned? That happens all the time.
No.
No? So people don't trade land in real life? That they got through consensual transaction? That never happens.
What up?
Hello, Sweet Bacon. Oh, that's never happened before. That doesn't happen all the time. It's not like there's a real estate market or anything of people who got their land through consensual transaction.
Only if a state recognizes it.
Okay, so if the state recognizes you as being the owner of another
there is no
person,
stateless land.
So if the state recognizes you as being the owner of another person, does that make it okay now, or legitimate based on your criteria?
Greetings.
Slavery ID good if the state says it, LOL.
Yeah.
a chosen profession. For others,
I
it is
mean,
something
you
of a
said there's no
pastime,
property
a badge
unless
of
the state
courage,
recognizes
or a
it, and
rite
if the
of
state
passage,
recognizes
depending
that
on
you're the
tribe.
owned by another
If
If the
person.
state allows you
Race
to be
and
the owner of
profession
a
mean
person, it
nothing.
can happen,
It is the
and does
testing of
happen.
your spirit and mind
Yeah, but would that
I
be
respect.
legitimate under your
For one to stand
view?
against the forces of nature and test all of their
Do you
skills
consider
is the
that to
true
be a
mark of
legitimate
honor.
transaction?
If you wish to test yourself and earn my respect,
And would consider
then
and would
speak to me
respect it?
more. This crater has many strange creatures.
See
they
Libya.
seem to be nobler versions of the creatures found throughout
Yeah, I
my
understand that
homeland
people
and
enslave
beyond.
other people.
I cannot explain it, but this
Like,
place
yeah, I know
rises
that.
the Earth
In Libya
Mother.
it is.
I pay homage to her every time I track
Okay, so
one of
you
her
think that
beautiful
slavery is
creatures across
legitimate.
its
Got you.
basin.
Thank you,
If you
Incarnation.
too wish to feel the enlightenment that accompanies such a great feat, then head to the north. There you'll find great apes who are a test for any mortal strength. Bring me their pelts.
Slavery is legitimate unless if the government says so,
Once,
guys.
A long time ago, a brother
According
of
to
mine took some meat
Incarnation.
from one of Larcorwe's kills. He didn't know it at the time, but Larcorwe saw him from the forest. Larcorwe followed my brother for days, destroying everything he touched. My brother, scared, finally decided to run from the crater and leave Larcorwe behind. Larcorwe killed him not far from this spot. If you want to provoke
Hello.
Larcorwe, find a
Hey, what's going on, Murda?
Take some of the
Mudra?
meat from it.
So do you,
Return to me afterwards.
No, I don't. I think that it doesn't matter what the government declares. It doesn't make it okay for you to own another person. I never think it's there's no circumstance in which you can give me in which I would say it's okay to enslave an innocent person. Whereas you believe, hey, if the government says it's okay, then hey, it's all right. If you could
If your
give...
neighbor says it's okay, there is nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but again, if somebody enslaves another person, I would never consider that to be legitimate. You believe it's legitimate. When I say legitimate, means that he is the rightful owner of that thing. I wouldn't consider that to be legitimate. Just because somebody owns another or claims to own another person does not make them the owner. I could claim to be the owner of New York City. Does that make me the owner of all of New York City? No. And I don't believe that might makes right, because, you know, that's immoral. So, to you, slavery is perfectly legitimate, so long as the state
Sup,
says
dude?
so.
Who cares what you think? If I'm your neighbor and I want to have a slave, it's none of your business. Whether
Again,
I
it
can or
wouldn't be
cannot stop you doesn't make it legitimate. If a mob boss held a gun to my head and said the moon is flat, that doesn't make it so.
Exactly. Everyone has a view on ownership. Your view, I could say the exact same thing about you. I could just be like, hey, why should I give a shit about your government standard of ownership? I could just take your shit. I mean, I could make the same exact claim about your standard of ownership. We all have a standard of ownership. Your standard of ownership, what makes a person
It's
a
me,
legitimate owner.
Bloody bastard from Twitch.
Hey,
Might makes reality not right.
well, might makes reality, of course. Might is just reality. But it does not make right, because right is a moral prescription. And moral prescriptions can only be given by human beings.
If we agree to enforce law stating that something is illegal, then we are just creating another government/state.
Again, you're using the word government and state synonymously as if it's the same thing, when it in fact is not. Also, you said that if a person is a state... Okay, so first you said that if a person is on their own land, that makes them a state. But then you also said the state decides what is ownership. So if you come onto... because I'm on the owner of my land...
Government and state are not the same. One is voluntary.
Exactly. So you're saying that the state... I am now a state because I own my own land. So let's say you came onto my land. Would that then make it okay for me to enslave you because I'm the state of that land, and the state is the one that chooses who owns what, right? So based on that criteria, hey, you come on my property. That means that
How is one voluntary?
You're based on your view. It's legitimate for a person to enslave another person if they go on their property because they are the state of that property. So you just basically legitimized slavery through your ethic. One is voluntary because one, the government in which we want will not get its revenue through force. It will get it through voluntary transaction. Our government will be voluntary, whereas your state is involuntary.
If you can't defend yourself against your neighbors who think having slaves is morally okay, what are you going to do about it? Incarnation, are you a libertarian socialist?
Let's say the government says...
Government is through contract, the state is through aggression but claims peace.
Let's say that the government says that it's morally okay for you to be enslaved by your neighbor. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do when the government says that you are now owned by your neighbor? What are you going to do about it?
The fact that I can be taken over doesn't make the aggressor correct. What don't you get? Answer the question.
If the guy has more force than me, and he's able to overpower me, then I'm fucked. Now answer my question. Let's say the state says, you are now owned by this person. Now, that's legitimate under your view, right? So, that means that what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to sit back? Are you going to fight back? Or are you going to allow it to happen? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do when the government comes and takes your shit? Under any system, it doesn't matter what system you are, there's always going to be a situation where you could be screwed over. But does that then make it the action that they're doing okay? Absolutely not.
Exactly. So you create a government to defend you and your friends who think slavery is wrong and are willing to defend yourself against them. You've created a government and also a state. I haven't paid taxes in over 10 years. Nothing has happened to me.
Nothing has happened to you yet. So again, so let's say your government out of nowhere says, hey,
There is no actual law that states that you must actually pay taxes.
I mean, if there's a sales tax and I don't pay it, the state will come for me. The IRS will come for me. They're not going to so you're meaning to say that the government is just going to sit back and let you take its money and not pay taxes indefinitely and do absolutely nothing about it? Is that what you're claiming? Also, let's say that government that you just created decides to enslave you. What are you going to do about it? Incarnation? What are you going to do about it? You're avoiding the question. I answered your question. Now you're avoiding my question. What are you going to do when the government comes and enslaves you? What are you going to do when your state comes to enslave you?
There is a reward still available for anyone whom can find a law that states you must pay. If you can't create another state that can defend itself against it, nothing.
Oh,
and they can do nothing.
So it seems to me...
Yes, government is fine, a state is not. If I go around and say, hey, I'm from a rights enforcement agent and ask you to sign up as my client, that's voluntary, not a state that says auto own this land.
Well, it seems like, okay, well then Incarnation, if there's nothing that you could do about it, well then it seems like the same criticism that you were throwing at me is the same criticism I could throw at your system. You know, oh, well, nothing you can do about it. If somebody screws you over, nothing you can do about it. If the government screws you over, nothing you can do about
So
it.
if China took over America, they are just in putting us in slavery because they're stronger. The US government is corrupt and we all know it.
Absolutely. So is Daruga, is your claim that nothing will happen to you if you don't pay taxes? Is that your claim? Or is your claim that there's just no law that makes it illegal for you not to pay taxes? Is that your claim?
Thank you for proving the point that you're just creating a new version of the same thing you have.
No, what I've made it very, very clear the difference. I don't know if you were listening. One is voluntary.
Good night, Stickies.
One is voluntary, and the other one is not voluntary. I know you weren't really listening, but that's okay. See, a state doesn't ask you
IS
for
rate
your
the
money.
same as sex. Idiot.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, a private company doesn't force you to pay its sewer services. A private company offers you a service, and you can choose to pay for that good or service and not choose to pay that good or service. Whereas the state does not ask your permission as to whether or not you want to buy that good or service. They force you to buy whether you want the service or not. So there is a clear difference between one and the other. One is voluntary, right? Sex, which is sex.
Sales
and the other
tax
one,
yet. Not voluntarily, but yearly taxes, optional. Again. 10 years. Not a word from anyone.
I mean, yeah, but if somebody were to report you or turn you in, just because you haven't gotten caught doesn't mean that it's, not illegal not to pay taxes. If they catch on to you, or, they're gonna expect somebody back. Or if somebody reports you that, yeah.
So you can move out of the state.
Oh, so basically, if somebody's robbing you, and you have the option to run away, that doesn't make it a robbery. If somebody pulls a gun on you, and you have the option to run away, right? There's always a slim chance that you have the option to run away, right? And hey, you can always just leave, right? So it's not robbery anymore because you could just take the other option, which is to just leave.
They'll soon get caught since saying this like that has zero OPSEC. Okay, get into the social security system. Explain how we are all cattle and stock numbers.
Get into the social security system? Well, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think social security should be completely abolished. I think it's the state stealing our money to pay for old people. That should have
If you don't
saved
like
their
the
money.
food at the restaurant, you don't have to stay.
Oh, yeah, but again, you're talking about a private company, right? I love how when you're talking about a voluntary transaction, the first thing that you use as an example is a private company. Because
If you don't like the service you get for the taxes you pay, you can leave.
Because you know inherently that there's a difference between a state and a private company. One, a private company does not force a service upon you. If you go into a private company and you use their service, then they expect you to pay. But again, they're not forcing a service upon you. You choose to take the service. Whereas again, the state is forcing upon you a service. I did not ask for the roads over there. I did not ask for the military to go to other countries and blow people up. Did you ask for the government to go and blow people up in other countries? I certainly did not. So for them to use my money to pay for those things...
Even when you leave the country in some state, they still tax you, right?
Oh yeah, that is true. Even if I do leave and I buy something from somebody else in the country, they'll still force me to pay a sales tax, even if I'm not even in the country or a citizen. So that argument doesn't even hold up. I could not even be a citizen and still have to pay that country's taxes. Yeah, I just think it's kind of funny how, like, this is just such a simple concept. One.
Do you want to be an American? Also, who asked to see a law saying you have to pay taxes? Dumb question. Text green, game over.
Sheesh. It's just so simple. It's so simple. All you need to prove that taxation is theft, all you need to
Do
think
you
is
want
like
to
this.
be an American?
I want to live in the country. Yeah. I like living on my own
Did you
land.
see my feedback on your drug legalization draft? Your thoughts on the strawman versus the living man?
Yes, I did.
He is.
The straw man versus the living man? I don't know what you're talking about. If the government comes in and forces you to pay for something that you don't want to pay for, and you haven't aggressed against anyone to
What
warrant.
did you think of my feedback?
I think it was
Yes,
good.
I want to own the land I own and didn't take like the state.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm gonna fully look through your feedback, and I'm going to add even more to my my paper based on it. So I don't fully remember exactly everything that you said, but I did read through it, look through it. Damn, I probably should have healed myself before I went and attacked this big fucking tar thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah, my legalized
So
drugs
you paid
videos.
the price to live here. It's pretty simple. If you don't like it, you can leave.
So if a robber comes into your house
The
and
living man or natural person refers to a human being.
got you. So if a robber comes into your house and pulls a gun on you and says you need to get out of your house.
Okay, so if a mob boss makes me pay to live at my house, I can just leave.
Yeah. If a mob bob knocks on your door and says, "Hey, we'll protect you for a gun, and if you don't like it, then just leave." Hey, that's perfectly legitimate because, you know, based on Incarnation's worldview, that's perfectly legitimate. I mean, they owned a land. They claimed over the land. They have the guns. They make the rules. Mafias are perfectly
Pay
legitimate.
the price for living? What the fuck are you saying?
You got all of us ANCAPs. All of us ANCAPs need to come together and play World of Warcraft.
Just do a quick Google search on Strawman versus the Living Man.
We're talking about whether or not taxation is theft. I'm not sure how that's related.
Protection rackets equals organizations that illegally behave like governments.
Pretty much.
Mobs are illegal in my state, so it doesn't work exactly that way. More of a battlefield
The
guy
state is a
myself.
mob. The state is a mob. Yeah, of course they don't want other mobs taking their place. Then they would lose their competition. They would have competition, and that wouldn't be good. They want to be the head mob.
It's related. It has to do with separation of person from state. Thus we don't pay to the gov. It's sovereign citizen BS.
Oh.
So if the state allowed a mob, it would be cool then.
Yeah. So yeah. If the state said it was okay for there to be a mob, then it would be
Keyword
okay then.
illegal.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay. Yeah, but the state does exactly what the mob does. They claim over a land and then force you to pay for their protection. They didn't get their land through original appropriation or just consensual transaction, now did they? They got it through force. And our claim is that force does not make you the owner of something. Using force to take something does not make you the owner of it. It's like what I asked you the last time we debated. Let's say I snatched your
So
phone
all
from your
human
hand.
rights violations aren't wrong if the state says so. Cool, got it, big brain take.
Bro, I know, bro. Big brain take over here. If I snatched your phone from your hand, would that then make me the owner? Well, obviously not. Unless that's
Never
what you
did you.
believe. Neither did I. What do you mean, neither did I? The state literally does what the mob does. They're just
Using
legitimized.
force to defend makes it yours.
So might makes right. So you believe that might makes right.
The government is not the just owner of the land it claims to own. Man, these statists are funny.
I know, statists are like... They'll do anything to justify their state. We're the good guys, I swear. We're not stealing your money. We're just putting a gun to your head and threatening to kill you if you don't pay us, even though we didn't want what you asked for. But we're giving you. It's for your own good, guys. You know what? I'm gonna put my ANCAP mask on.
Incarnation, why not have a government which will ask for consent to govern its clients over a state which doesn't and just uses the social contra which is just divine right? Explain to me why go. Divine rights with extra steps.
You guys like my ANCAP mask? It's not really symmetrical with my face.
Doesn't look bad at all.
It's not very comfortable neither. But I got it at the I bought it on Etsy because I thought it was really cool. So I kind of have it as a decoration. I bought it on Etsy because I thought it was really cool. So I kind of have it as a decoration.
Consent is granted by virtue of staying. We're bacon.
Again, so if a mob comes up to you and says, "Hey, we are now the owner of this land, and if you, because you have the choice to leave, it makes it okay for us to do whatever we want for you for not refusing to pay." Also, wouldn't that also make the Holocaust consensual? I mean, by staying, those people consented to what the state was doing to them, right? I mean, shit, they could have just, the Jews could have just left, you know, based on that criteria. I mean, you could make and insert any genocide, right? If they had the ability to leave, right? Then hey, I guess they had it coming from your perspective.
What, so slavery back in the 1800s was okay cause the state said it is what?
Yeah, so slavery, hey, the state said it was all right. So hey, based on your, you know, consent, they could have just left, right? They could have just left.
No, that's a dumb argument, and you know it.
How is it a dumb wait, how is it a dumb argument? Explain. Go ahead.
Also, the Jews tried to leave.
Okay, so let's say they had the chance to leave. Let's say the Nazi said, "Hey, we're gonna give you a chance to leave, but if you don't leave, we're gonna Holocaust you." And then they said, "Hey, I don't think this is right. I'm staying on my property. You don't have the right to take to Holocaust me." And then they got Holocausted. Would that then make it okay by your criteria? That, I mean, based on your criteria, that they had it coming. They stayed. The government said, "We're gonna genocide you." They had the chance to leave. They didn't want to leave.
Why
They
do
stood?
you think there was a civil war?
Why do I think there was a civil war? Why was there a civil war? Because of slavery, yeah. But before the Civil War, right? Before the Civil War happened, it was slavery. Slavery was a supported thing.
There was a slavery apologist in the 1800s who used social contract theory to argue antebellum.
Exactly. They use social contract theory. And not only that, right? Slavery before the Civil War
was a consensual and just institution.
both sides supported slavery for a while. For a long while. North and South supported slavery. So when North and South supported slavery, does that then make it okay?
States now which one is right and which one is wrong, cause according to you the only one right is whoever wins. So if the Confederacy won, slavery is okay and can't be wrong till they fall. Dumbass.
Yeah, let's say the Confederacy won. Let's say the Confederacy won. Would that then make it okay? I mean, they won. Hey, now they're the government now. What they says goes. I also want to know why the Holocaust example was a bad example. Hey, perfectly okay based on incarnation's, you know, it's perfectly legitimate. They won the war. They're the state. So, you know, it's a social contract. The social contract deems that if you stay in the country...
Samuel Seabury. The book was American Slavery Distinguished from the Slavery of English.
Yeah. Whereas I say, it doesn't matter what is legal or what the state says is illegal or illegal. It's never okay to enslave another person.
Theorists and justified by the law of nature, 1861.
It is never okay to enslave another person for any reason.
Slavery equals bad.
Yes, slavery is bad. I know. But hey, according to incarnation...
If you are unable to defend your virtues, what you think is right or wrong is irrelevant.
Oh, okay, so might makes right, guys. Might makes right, guys. Wow. Hey, might makes right, according to incarnation. So if you have the might to rape someone... Hey... that makes you right, because, hey...
You say might makes right, so you can never claim the stronger power is wrong.
You know, rape is only wrong when you have the might to defend against it. When you don't have the might, well, it's not wrong.
Murder was never legal in Germany, so targeting was illegal until it wasn't.
So wait, were the Nuremberg trials wrong when they... you know, when they prosecuted those guys for killing the Jews? Because
kaboom.
Technically, it was legal.
The Jews tried to leave. Millions obviously couldn't.
Yeah, but let's say they had the choice. And the government still said, let's say the government gave them the choice to leave. They said, hey, if you choose to stay here, we're gonna Holocaust you, right? You still haven't, I've given you this hypothetical before, and you still haven't responded to it. And there's a reason why you will not respond to it. The hypothetical is, let's say the Nazis came to the Jews and said, hey, we're giving you a choice to leave. And if you don't leave, we're going to Holocaust you. We're going to kill you. And then the Jews say, hey, this is not right. This is my property. I'm going to stay on my property. You don't have the right to take from me. And then the Jews Holocausted them. So based on your criteria, right? Hey, they were perfectly entitled to Holocausting those Jews because...
so if you try to leave, it's wrong. But I thought might made right.
You know, hey, they gave them the chance to leave, and they chose to stay. So therefore, based on your criteria, those people deserved what was coming to them. They deserve to be murdered. They deserve to be killed, gassed, whatever happened to them. The experiments, hey. Right? Right, Incarnation? I mean, you want to stay consistent with your worldview, right? Anyone want to give me free gold?
Is this a Nazi we're talking with?
No, he's not a Nazi. He's actually pretty liberal, believe it or not. But you wouldn't know based on this conversation because, fuck, has he been supporting some really illiberal stuff. It's kind of funny when I argue with liberals about the state. If you want to realize how illiberal liberals
KingSithis
are,
is now live streaming World of Warcraft. Taxation is theft. Change my mind.
if you want to realize how illiberal liberals are, just ask them to explain why the state is good, and they will show you how illiberal they actually are. Because if you were to ask a normal liberal, hey, do you think it's wrong to rape someone, to enslave someone, to do this, to do that?
Your hypothetical is dumb, just like your snap utopia, about the same level of stupid of communist.
Okay, so you're gonna avoid the hypothetical? So you're dodging the hypothetical? Got you. So the reason, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the reason why he's dodging the
Wait,
hypothetical...
so according to his logic, no state can be evil because they make the laws, lol.
So basically, the reason why he doesn't want to answer the question is because if he does answer the question in a consistent way, it would basically lead to him...
equals communist.
It would actually basically lead to him supporting the Jews being Holocausted, but he doesn't want to admit that he would support the Jews being Holocausted. So as opposed to admitting that the Jews would be Holocausted under his ideal system, he's going to sit here and be like, oh no, I'm not going to answer this question. That's such a stupid question. I just think it's... Alright, so, you know, everybody else heard...
Holy shit, I did. Oops.
You didn't what?
I am sorry.
Ad cap equals communist. Yeah, yes. Because we believe in the labor theory of value, right? If anyone's more of a communist, it's going to be you.
The state is good, it allows take a shit while listening to how stupid you are without having to worry about my neighbor murdering me. I've received 100 messages today with rest ream chat.
I mean, fundamentally, you know, under a non-anarcho-capitalist status system, I wouldn't really need to worry about my neighbors coming and killing me because I would have a security agency to back me up, at my beck and call the same way that your state would. The difference between a private company and your state is that your state is literally the criminal in which you need protection from, because if they came and murdered you or tried to shoot you or tried to rob your house while you were taking a shit, there would literally be nothing you can do about it. And I am in the Night Slayer server of the 20th anniversary realm. Let's say you're taking a shit right now and the government just decided, hey, I'm gonna take your home through eminent domain. What are you gonna do about it? Incarnation, what are you gonna do about it?
I didn't know that liberals are this idiotic.
Well, that's just liberalism for you, bro. Not much you can do about it.
I did.
I did? Oh, you were saying I did to his... I'm sorry, I'm stupid. Well, I'm glad you're taking a shit, bro. You must have been taking a really long shit, because we've been talking for a bit.
We know. I paid your security company not to come defend you.
Okay, and I paid your government to go and rob you through eminent domain. What are you going to do about it? Donald Trump did that to a woman in New York City.
Okay, then that gets noticed by other companies as Aggers Zion and they gang up and take out that security company. Or it's seen as fraud and I get a new one.
Yeah. I mean, if you found out that the security company that was representing you was going around robbing people when they're saying that they're really supposed to be protecting people, well then obviously you're not going to want to subscribe to them because you're not going to want to be robbed neither. Also, other private security companies whom are protecting those people whom are being robbed, they're not going to sit back and allow them to do it. Especially if there's multiple competing ones in that area. But you can pay the state to force to use eminent domain to steal some person's land.
That's funny.
I mean, there's plenty of examples of that happening. Just watch some John Stossel clips. You'll find it. Donald Trump literally forced a woman off of her land using eminent domain in order to build a fucking parking lot for his stupid casino.
Common Trump L.
Alright, I'm back. Donald Trump is a fucking dirtbag. I'm so tired of him. It's a fucking piece of shit.
Okay, so security companies are the ones who will decide what is right and wrong and what price it's worth.
No, what decides what is the right and wrong is the people who are paying for their services, and the people who are paying for their services in Ancapistan are people who support the non-aggression principle. If they didn't support the non-aggression principle, then it wouldn't really be Ancapistan now, would it? Also, nobody decides what is right is wrong. For other people, you know, the same way how people believe in the Constitution, and because people believe in the Constitution, it sort of like legitimizes the state, allowing it to sort of enforce its laws because a large enough people sort of agree with it that the minority of people who don't agree with it, they don't really matter anymore. Well, it would work the same way in Ancapistan. I mean, you would then have to explain to me why your magical document, the Constitution, would be so much what gives that piece of paper like this majestic capability of being able to subjugate people without them agreeing to it to some degree.
My position is that argumentation ethics only proves that the nap is the default position.
Argumentation ethics is good. So today, through this conversation, we got Incarnation to support slavery, the Holocaust.
No, the NAP is better than a constitution of the U.S. because it's not just paper but backed up by reason and natural law. The Constitution only upholds natural law to a semi-degree.
So we got Incarnation to admit that he
with
supports,
exemptions for state of emergencies.
that he supports slavery, so long as the state says it's okay, and the Holocaust, so long as the state says it's okay. I wonder what else he'll admit that is okay, so long as the state says it's okay.
Horrible positions.
Yeah, I mean, like, so long as the state says it's okay, slavery's okay. Because the state is the one that makes the laws. Murder's only bad because it's illegal, right? If it was legal to murder someone, then, hey, what can you, I mean, that's
Morality
the law.
law.
That's the law, right, guys?
People are only as good as the law allows them to be.
True. I'm gonna hang out in the Discord.
Chick grappists being forced to work in prison to provide restitution is base though. Child grappists.
I'm glad you didn't use the actual word.
I believe in rehabilitation. Look at the Scandinavian statistics.
Rehabilitation's better than throwing someone in prison and leaving them there. But I think personally I'm more of a eye for an eye kind of guy. What you do to others should be done to you.
Regular prisons just make it worse.
Have you seen all the wonderful things here in Ungoro Crater, Adventurer? It's simply amazing. Not as amazing as some of the things I can
Again,
make with my skill at
incarnations, why would I want
engineering,
a state
but for it
over a
being all
voluntary
natural
government?
here, it's not too
Incarnation, no, it's
bad. My
the
Uncle
company's
Rem Travel
customers.
loves old stuff like this
The customers will
place. I'm
choose a
following in
company
his
which
footsteps,
defends the
kinda.
NAP properly.
I want to discover new things from
If they
lost
don't do
cultures,
this,
too.
they will either abandon the company or if
something's
it
happened
breaks
to
the
one of
NAP
my
YK.
greatest inventions.
You either
You've seen
redeem
mechanical
people or
squirrels,
separate
yes?
them if it's
Well,
impossible.
to get closer to the apes of Ungoro Crater, I created a mechanical ape to blend in with their kind. I call her Amy01. She has scrying gems for eyes so I could see everything she saw. She made it to Fungal Rock.
Yes,
the apes' lair,
prisons are a
just
national
east of here.
shame.
And that's when I lost contact. The last thing I saw was one of their alpha males rushing up to say hello to her. Can you help me find her?
I'm making a
It
flying
depends
machine.
what it is
I got
overall. I'm
stranded
not
here,
eye
and
for
I'm
an eye, but I
absolutely horrible at
understand what
finding my
you
way
mean
around.
somewhat.
I'd take a Griffin or Wind Rider back to Gadget's.
I believe an eye for an eye, but
just
if
scare me
the
to death.
Us has
victim,
the most people incarcerated per
All I
capita
have
in the
left to
world.
build is the wings.
yeah, I know
And
it's
I was
disgusting.
thinking that the webby scales from the pterodactyl
I think that
and the Dimetrodon
basically
would be
like
perfect.
if the victim,
There's
but
no
if the
way I'm
victim
gonna go up against
is
one of those.
and the
You look
person
pretty
is
tough.
willing to come together and be
Why
like,
don't
hey,
you
like
try?
as opposed to me
Oh,
doing this to
yes,
you,
these things do look
you could
familiar. Well,
spend
kind
this
of.
amount of time
You
in,
see,
in a
I have
jail
no
or so
idea
or
how I
something
ended
like
up
or
here.
rehabilitation
No one
center,
really knows.
as
It's a
opposed to me
secret
doing
to
this back to you.
everybody.
Then like
I
you
just
could
can't seem to
compromise or do
remember
something like that,
anything.
so long as they
These
agree.
items you brought to me, though, I am
But if they don't
remembering
agree, then
something. My
I think you have
sword.
full right to
I'm
do
supposed
to them what they've done
Actually,
to
it's
you.
currently El Salvador.
I'm really not sure why.
Eye for an eye
Sorry,
results
I
in a
can't tell you
society
more,
that
but I just
maximizes
don't
blindness in the
remember.
world.
Anywho, I do know
The
when
only people who will be blind are the people who
Donovan
fucking
Snowden
you know,
You'll find her by the hot
who
spring.
knocked out a person's
You can
eye,
tip her the
and
sword
they
by the
deserve it.
pools
So,
there.
Well, look at this. My journal. I thought it was lost, much like almost everything else we brought into Ungoro. I thank you kindly for returning this to me. I don't know how you made it here, but you're a sight for sore eyes. I'm Willadin Marshall, and I lead a non-aligned expedition troop. Our
Look at
latest
I4
and
and I
greatest
working out
endeavor
in the
has
Balkans.
met with what seems like countless disasters, the most serious of which being that we underestimated the savagery of Ungoro Crater. As we fled our base camps in the southwestern and northeastern parts of the crater, we left behind vital supplies.
If it breaks the nap, the
You
other
look like you're
companies will team
capable
up and
enough.
take them
Can you help
down.
us by getting them back?
Families at war for
Just
decades
we've
because
suffered a
someone
setback
spilled wine over
doesn't
someone.
mean that research must stop. We were investigating the Garishi insects in the southern part of the crater before winding up here. Their presence is alien to the ecology of Ungoro, and we want to find out why. In their hive network must be larval
I4 and I
hatcheries.
was originally
You can
intended as
identify
a
these
way to
places
figure
by
out
their
the
hanging
price of
larval
restitution.
spawns. Use this vial to take a sample of the
Yeah.
hive wall near any of the hatcheries. Bring it back to me for study, but be careful.
You'd think that being chief digger for Marshall Expeditions means I like digging. There might be worse things
Yeah,
to do
that
in
didn't
this
work
world,
out, XD.
but none really leaped to mind.
I don't know much about the
We were
Balkans.
supposed to be digging in Terror Run. Fantastic.
An eye for two eyes, in my
for
opinion.
Dead stegodons and diametrodons.
Reparation and
Well, there are
restitution.
plenty of live ones there too. Will and Hall are still all about studying this death trap.
Which is
So we
probably
need
how
those
it would in a
dinosaur
libertarian
bones.
society.
Between you and me, though, bringing some from
it would
my
most likely
place
just
worked
be an
out
eye
just
for an
as well.
eye. You do to me for what I done to you.
My friend Ringo left earlier to explore the volcano to the south
And
of here.
if you don't want me
He has
to
been
do to
gone
you what
way
you did
too
to me,
long.
well then we got to come to maybe to an agreement that you stay in this cell for this amount of time, and if you don't
This
agree,
is
well
KT,
then,
how do
then
you know?
get it.
Do find Ringo. I'm sure
know?
he'll need it.
See Larian over there? It's his fault we're here. I told him we were going the wrong way, but would he listen? And would you believe that he's the one that won't speak to me? Well, until he changes his mind, let's have
How
a
does
bit of
making
fun with
the
it.
other
Have you
person
noticed
blind
the
help you,
strange plant-like
BTW?
creatures around here? They're nothing but trouble, really. but I think if trained properly,
It gets
I could get
back
them
at
to
them
obey
for what they did
commands.
to you.
First thing, though, I'll need
Makes
some
me feel
samples
better.
to study. Do you think you could collect some?
I'd be
I'm
very
sure you
happy
noticed
if someone
the
made me
adventurer.
blind.
They're everywhere.
I'd be very
What am I
happy to see them
talking
get
about?
blind.
Why, the crystals,
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
course. The crystals. They're all over the crater. Most people ignore them, but I have a strange feeling that they hold power within them. I've been doing experiments here with them for a while, but I can't seem to find anything. Well, I haven't yet anyway.
They deserve
Say,
it.
I'm running a little low on the crystals I have.
He either is rehabilitated or needs to be locked away from society. Yeah,
True.
the idea is that the victim is going to use the threat to get the other person to give them.
Or they could pay you. You know. You'd be like, hey, listen, like, and maybe instead of me knocking your eye out, you could pay me this amount of money. Oh, you don't got it? All right, give me your eye.
Paying, gouging the other back. Money, and they both decide how much is worth it.
Mm-hmm. If they both agree, well then, you know, then it's settled. If they don't agree, well then you could go for it. Then you could go for the eye. Give me it. You could just grab a spoon and just pull it out. Pop it out.
Again, I think with the rights enforcement agency they would make you relinquish the eye for an eye mentally. So you couldn't just do that or you'd break their contract.
They would most likely, you're right, they would most likely have some sort of,
Eye for an eye is incompatible with fines. They're the opposite of one another.
I mean, what you could do is you could, it could be like, hey, as opposed to having an eye for an eye situation, we could, you know, have him go to this prison here or whatever. You know, after we do a lengthy trial or whatever, and then
I was saying that in practice people would likely negotiate rather than gouge out eyes.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's the last resort. Like, if the person, like, if they don't come to an agreement at all, fundamentally, you have the right, I think you have the right to do to them
An
what
eye
they did
for
to
an
you.
eye is also personal. The state and law and trials have nothing to do with them.
Well, I mean, you're just doing back to them what they did to you, so. I'm not sure that's personal.
It's just the end of
It's
civil
justice.
society as a whole.
It's
Which
justice.
LDL?
Level 51. That's justice. If you cut my
Because
eye
you
out,
also don't want to be wrong, like kill someone who was innocent, because you then lose the rights.
yeah, that's why I believe, like, unless you have the evidence that they did it, then, you know.
You're cutting out judge, jury, and the execution out of the equations.
I don't think you need a judge if you have the right to attack another person if they attacked you. So, for instance, if somebody
That's
robbed
what
you,
eye for an eye is.
yeah, if somebody robs
Sharia
you,
law does this today, so you have a state, laws, and trials.
so if somebody robs you, right? Would you not have the right to if you had the ability to take that money back, would you not have the right to take it back because doing so would do it without a judge, jury, or whatever? Well, no, obviously you would still have the right to take that shit back because it's yours. You know what I mean?
Saudi Arabia would be an example.
Islam is right about women.
Law equals I give up my instincts to the state that investigates and deals justice.
Basically. Law today, at least.
Otherwise you just live in a modern jungle. Islam is completely wrong about women.
I know, I'm kidding. Wait, you don't think women can be property? What?
The modern world is also completely wrong about women.
Everyone's wrong about women except for me. I'm always right.
Nobody cares about how women work, they only care about control, both parties.
Yeah. It's all a game. It's all a game, bro. Like World of Warcraft, you know? It's all a fucking game.
As a last resort, only under natural law and no government, yeah, the eye for an eye stuff would happen, but with contracts it would be discouraged even if you feel like it's right. They'd find another way.
Yeah. I'm
Women
sure.
own themselves, though.
Yes, I know that. I'm just joking. Yeah. Most likely, it wouldn't just be eye for an eye in every situation. I'm sure we would find more civilized way of dealing with disputes. There's a lot of quests on here, man.
I wish feminists would drop the commie nonsense and come be libertarians.
I would say anarcho-capitalists are the true feminists.
Similarly, raping grappists would be gross.
Oh yeah. Unless you hired an agency whose job it is to rape rapists, then they would take it on for you. For a price. Get paid to rape rapists.
That would still be grotesque. I respect the conservative libertarian because sure they believe women should act a certain way but don't wish to force it on them through violence.
I hate conservatives. They're so fucking... they're woke basically, but on the right.
But what if they like that SHT?
Well, then I guess you'll have to find another way to punish them. In a way they don't like it. You have to do it in a way they don't like it.
What's going on?
What's going on?
What
Playing
is
World of
wokeness?
Warcraft.
I don't really watch liberal ex-conservative debates.
There are people who basically have this
Nice.
ideology of wokeness is basically Marxism applied to racial relations. Which is basically the idea that there's like this upper class of a certain race that has control and they basically call the shots over other groups because they have all the control and yada 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 yada. And the right does this as well with like Jews and you know and the left and and they do a lot of things that I think they criticize the left for doing, which is basically like
I don't mean conservative in the way we use it in America, I just mean preference for certain ordered values and follow the nap.
No, I know, I'm just nitpicking you, man. I knew what you meant.
Conservatives are mostly not anti-Semites.
No, most of them are not. But there's a lot of them that are. I don't really like Jews. I'm starting to see a lot of conservatives online talking anti-Jewish stuff.
The horseshoe theory feels true for authoritarians.
But, yeah, they believe in...
Anti-Semitism, Al.
Yeah, they believe in a lot of, like, telling people what to do. You know, they believe in a nanny state, which is basically the idea of, like, oh, you know, the government should be telling us, you know, what is right and what is wrong, and, you know, oh, you shouldn't be doing drugs, you shouldn't hire a prostitute, you know, that's bad for you, you shouldn't drink raw milk, you shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, the right supports a lot of shit like that, and...
Dude, who are you talking to?
I'm live streaming. Hello.
Hello. You're live streaming. I didn't realize you were emptied in this, you were empty in the VC, so I assumed that you were just talking to anyone.
Oh, yeah, I'm an anarcho-capitalist.
Yeah, that's my least favorite form of government. So you want to debate that?
Sure, sure, let's do it.
Okay, so why do you support, like, anarchist capitalist ideology?
Well, anarcho-capitalism is just basically an ideology. It's a group of people who believe very strongly in the non-aggression principle. And the non-aggression principle is one does not have the right to initiate an aggression. An aggression would be on any form of unwanted force, you know, which would be like violating another person's consent. And yeah, and that's just basically what we believe.
Okay, sure. How would you enforce that?
Well, you could either hire somebody to enforce that, or you can enforce it yourself. You can gain some sort of charity. You could live in some sort of private property that has that protection. You know, there's a number of things you can do.
Sure. So, so you mentioned like hire somebody. How do you hire somebody? This is a legitimate question.
You pay. You use your money to pay them.
Yes.
Or like it could be either through some sort of subscription by some multiple competing insurance agencies who would have some sort of package deal that you could pay once out of every month. out of your paycheck in order to receive their services, and it's a completely consensual transaction. If you don't like it, or you find another one that's cheaper or provides better services, you can move to that one.
Sure. And
kind of like moving from one country to the next country because you don't like the state you got.
Got it. So in the situation where there was, for example, a company that had a lot of money, and they wanted to hire people to enforce rules that they came up with, what would necessarily be stopping them from basically just having full political control?
Well, ideally, you would have multiple competing firms who would have some sort of agreements with each other in a mature market, that if one private security company decides to do some fishy stuff, other companies would basically come in and stop them. So even though it could be a big company, because there are multiple other companies, like a large amount of multiple other companies that have agreements with each other, they would sort of form up together or help them out or do something in order to stop that one company. They would basically come together and wipe them out. Kind of similarly to very small countries, like the European Union. If one country within the European Union or some sort of like what do you call it when a group of countries kind of come together and agree to help each other out if one gets invaded, it would work the same way. If one country, kind of like Ukraine and Russia right now, Ukraine got invaded, and Russia, they're having a hard time because a lot of other countries are now sending them money and troops and things to help them out to drive those guys back. And it would work the same way with a private company, but I would argue it would be more efficient because it's they have a profit incentive.
Sure. So what would be stopping the creation of a monopoly in a anarchist state?
Oh, well, the only thing that starts a monopoly is the state, because it's... Sorry?
I strongly disagree, but you can explain why.
Oh, yeah, because the only way in which you can basically take advantage or stop another person from competing with you is by using the force of the state. So just if you extremely disagree with that, I would like to ask you to give me an example of a natural monopoly that did not use any state in order to block any of its competition.
All right, well, that's an unfair question because anarchism hasn't been tried in a major way.
Oh, I would disagree with you. There's actually some examples in the real world of anarcho-capitalist countries that are very similar to anarcho-capitalism. I could send you a photo that lists some real-life examples, like medieval Iceland, Kaspaya. There's Prospera going on right now in Honduras.
In a smaller community, you can make the argument, but not in anything large.
Well, Iceland was pretty large. They had like 1 million people in it, and they were around for like 800, 400 years or so. Hundreds of years.
Iceland was a very long time ago, and I don't really think that applies to modern standards. I also don't know enough about Iceland to really have an argument, but either way, I don't really think we can be talking about things that were happening a long time ago.
Well, regardless, I would like... do you have any... Sorry, go ahead then.
Yeah, especially because the Industrial Revolution hadn't happened yet, and after the Industrial Revolution, it's much easier for one company to monopolize because they can control the entire means of production. So that becomes a issue. That's basically what the Rockefellers did. Now I'm going to.
Can I ask you something real quick? My chat wants to know what you believe in.
I'm a socialist.
You're a socialist? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so. In my opinion, or not even in my opinion, I think most people would agree with this, that the reason that monopolies aren't not the only thing that causes monopolies is the state. What most of the time causes monopolies is the buyouts of different companies once a company becomes powerful. Companies can very easily naturally get a large accumulation of wealth. That's not a problem. What happens, obviously there's corrupt things in government, But what happens that like perpetuate monopolies is a government will make like a deal with a very large company, which will automatically boost that company, or they won't stop that company from doing these different predatory practices. But
I agree.
But in the situation where there is no state, there is nothing approving or stopping them in the first place. So it doesn't, like, even if a government was basically always saying, hey, we're going to allow you to do this, we're going to allow you to do that, that if there is no state, there is absolutely, it doesn't matter, because they can do it no matter what. They don't even have to act. So when you have... So
wait, can I respond to that real quick? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so the issue with what you're saying is that when you have a free market where there's no restriction, when there are no restrictions on another person coming in and competing with me, well then that you wouldn't expect companies to get very large at all, because the second that they get large, the profits that are being seen to be made by the product in which they are selling, other people will want to then create that product and make a profit, and then you'll see other imitators basically coming in. So long as there's no state having regulations or intellectual property laws or patents or any regulation that you could think of to stop those businesses from coming in and competing with them, you wouldn't expect businesses to accumulate wealth in the way in which you're arguing for now. You only really see that when the state stops other businesses from competing with them, and which then allows them to become very large. So hey, if you don't want these businesses to become large, well then reducing these regulations and getting rid of intellectual property laws would help out immensely. And also the whole argument that there would be nothing stopping them from doing those things, well, competition would stop them, and also private security agencies would stop them from violating people's rights. So yeah.
Well, first, to just respond to that last point there, not if you own the private security agencies. Second, in the world where there'd be competition, you can just price undercut, right? Like, we're gonna have to make the assumption that maybe, like, after a while, companies will stop getting big. I wouldn't disagree with you that, but I would think that would be because of a monopoly. Now, because in a situation where there's, in like the beginning of the frameworks, one company is going to become like powerful. That's not like gonna stop, like there's nothing really stopping them there, because when a company like starts off and there's competition, right? One is going to win. That's just like how markets work at the end of the day. Now, one might...
What do you mean by win?
I mean by outgrowing the other.
Well, there are companies that are bigger than other companies, right? But that doesn't mean that there's no competition.
Yeah, I was about to clarify that. Like, for like example, right? Mm-hmm. Netflix versus Blockbuster is a very famous example of like two companies directly competing with each other and one just going under. And now, obviously, in most cases, the companies don't just go under.
But isn't that a good thing? That Blockbuster went down and Netflix got up, right?
Yeah, but let me explain. But in a more of a capitalist society, the reason that's a good thing is because Blockbuster didn't really have any value that they were adding. But in a
yeah, but that's the reason why they failed, right? When you
but listen, it wasn't going to be a direct comparison. But what I was stating was, in a free market society, when there were like a completely free market, when a company is there's going to be like very similar companies, right? And if there's not, then obviously a monopoly is going to happen automatically, because if one company is selling something and there's not direct competition between the two companies, then there's going to be then there's going to just be one that dominates a certain product. So that causes a monopoly either way. If there is direct competition, such as like Apple versus Microsoft or something, then those companies together are going to become powerful. Mm-hmm. Now, in a normal society, there are rules and regulations on what you can and cannot do. In a anarcho-capitalist society, there is no regulations. And you keep saying there could be private firms, but what I feel like a lot of anarcho-capitalists don't understand, in fact, is that the person who controls the capital is going to be controlling these private firms. So any like normal citizen who wants protection isn't going to be able to get it if they're going against the interests of the company, because the company can just pay
If that was true, then you would have to explain to me why France does not invade Germany.
No. Global pressure.
Okay, so why couldn't I use that same argument for private businesses, right? So if one private business decides to invade another private business or do the exact opposite to which they agree to, couldn't I make that same argument for the hundreds of other competing firms that are in their vicinity whose job it is to protect people?
Because of the fact that capital is going to be the only thing that matters in that situation. For example...
But wait, they're making capital from protecting people, and then there's a person who's defying that. And if there's hundreds of other companies whose job is to protect people, and they're making capital from protecting people, and then one company decides not to protect people, they're going to band together and stomp that group out, like in real life.
I disagree. If one company is stating that if one company is rich enough, they can just buy out the private firms. This is what I think is like...
but what if every single other company comes together and agrees to take out that one firm and decides to come together?
How many companies do you think could realistically be created in a...
Hundreds.
I disagree. I think there would be monopolies. I think that...
Okay, so then you would have to explain to me why France doesn't invade Germany.
Why are you First of all, what is the relevance, first of all?
Well, because you're stating that they're one country that is just going to decide, one firm is going to decide to gather up as much men as they can and invade another group so that they can steal their plunder and take their stuff, or forcefully enforce their will on other people to gain some sort of profit. And what I'm saying is there are hundreds of countries right now that could do that right now, that have the means to do so right now. What is stopping them?
Okay, yeah, first, law is is apparently, in quotes, not determined by capital in the real world. So countries have to go under the guise that their laws aren't being controlled by capital. Even though I don't necessarily think that's true, but I think it's bad.
Okay, so then you don't agree with that, obviously. So what is stopping them then? You don't believe that, obviously.
No, listen. I think it's a bad thing that countries don't necessarily capital.
Okay, regardless, you don't actually believe that they do that. So why don't they? So if you believe that they do it based on money, and why would? Sorry, go ahead then.
I'm the biggest fan on Twitch.
The statement that why doesn't France just invade Germany? I don't think it has a correlation. Like what I was stating was,
I could tell you the correlation.
I'm going to say what you did. I'm going to say why I don't think that it has a correlation.
Mm-hmm.
My statement is here that even though law might be is at least somewhat determined by capital, it isn't presented that way. So countries have to have justification for doing things. But in an anarchist society, or at least in an anarcho-capitalist society, the only thing that laws are determined by is capital.
Okay, so the criticism of my system also applies to the system in which you are supporting. And if that is true, then why wouldn't it also be true why doesn't it also be true that one country like Germany decide to invade France right now? Like, what's stopping them? I mean, they could make a lot of money. They have the means to do so. What's stopping them?
Because countries both have to be under the guise of not doing doing things unjustifiably. Second, when there is a government, it's easier for it's much easier for a group of people, or at least a group of people in the world to shun them. But when you're attacking their capital, then it's a problem.
All right, so then I could use that same argument in support of private companies. So there would be a whole lot of people that would shame them. There would be a whole bunch of other countries that would come together. They would group together private security firms that would group together to stop them. All the arguments in which you would in which you could put forward, and that would argue for why Germany doesn't invade France, I could then use to argue for why one private security firm doesn't invade and take over all the other ones.
Yeah, so your statement like there like kind of neglects the fact that their only thing that matters is going to be capital, right? Like this is like what I think is like my major thing with it. Capital is what determines. Also, you're like making the argument that like other countries would like shun them, right? That would apply.
Well, you made that argument.
I know, but you were saying that like but you're saying like it would be this. You were trying to make a direct comparison between the two, right? If we're gonna like do that, the arguments like against anarcho-capitalism, like how is a country gonna defend itself in like that situation
with guns?
We'll go back to that, but I wanted to just mention that because
we'll have a lot of guns. Trust me, we love guns.
We will come back to that for sure. But for now, I'm going to state that I think that is something to keep in mind for the conversation. But
I mean,
the main thing,
we can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, I know. I think that it is to remember that. But my main criticism is like this: capital is what's going to control the laws, and it's going to control the markets. Currently, the world is controlled by capital. Government is influenced by capital. It's not the other way around. That's the main reason I'm a socialist. When capital is number one, while they're over government, the government still has some leverage over the capital, right, or companies, because they have like.
But
control.
they do it using force.
I know they have force,
and that's not good.
I know it's not good. I don't like capital. Like what?
Well, what's wrong with capital? Capital's good. We need capital.
I disagree. I don't think that like there should be companies that are. I don't think we should.
You don't think we should have companies?
No, I don't think we should have privately owned companies for any basic needs or any like means of production.
So then, I shouldn't be allowed to go to the grocery store and buy water. I should be give it to me by the state.
No, I think it should be governmentally owned. But I would also like advocate for a system of government that it's like extremely easy to overthrow if they're like corrupt.
Yeah, but when you give the government power, right? The more power, right? You then make it harder for them to overthrow.
They would have very large amount of power economically and not so much power militarily.
Well, I mean, the economy is a very important thing. You know,
well, it's only important in the situation of a capitalist society. The economy is less important in like a socialist society.
It doesn't matter what society you're living in. The economy is very important.
If the workers control the means of production, then it's going to be much harder for a state to become like tyrannical, because when you control the means of production.
Listen, if you workers want to come together and buy a business and run it in the way that you want to, I'd have no problem with that. And in fact, under anarcho-capitalism, you would be free to do that.
That's not how. But that's not where we go, because you keep saying there'd be multiple. You're saying there'd be like hundreds of private firms. That doesn't make sense. Like realistically, they would combine. That like you're making
because if there's a private company. Hold on. If there's a private company that's going around buying other private companies, and there's nothing stopping other private companies from emerging in order to fit the demand that profit is being created by selling the services in which they're buying up, well, then you will see more and more companies. You will see more and more companies, right, start to pop up, because they know once they pop up, somebody will buy them out. And every single time they buy a new one, another one will pop up, because they know that every time they make a new service, they'll get bought out. And they'll do it over and over and over until the point where they'll basically lose money. And then it'll go back to how it normally is. See, that's why I say under an anarcho-capitalist unregulated market where there's nothing stopping competition from arising, you won't expect businesses to become that large, because in buying businesses, you then create a profit in the surface that is being sold. And when you do that, that then incentivizes more people to sell that service. When you incentivize more people to sell the service, they then go bring it to the market. Then they have to basically buy up all those people. The more people they buy up, the more you incentivize more people to sell that service. It's like a never-ending cycle. It's like water meeting its own level. When you see a company making a lot of profit, other companies see, oh my God, this company is making a lot of profit. I want to make a lot of profit because they want to make money. So then they start selling the same exact service that they're selling. And then as more companies start to make that service, it floods the market, and then the demand starts to lower and the price starts to lower. And that's just how it works. But again, why that doesn't work out is because the state stops competition.
Yeah, so I think I have a pretty simple response to that. When you're I disagree with the statement that there is nothing stopping competition or companies popping up. First of all, and the most obvious, is that there's only a limited amount of like a single resource for anything. So in like the case of like a private firm, which is the most important because it's what hinges your entire argument. Because if there is no, if there is no private firms, or there's only one major private firm, then your argument kind of doesn't have any.
Could you give me an example of a natural monopoly, like just one natural monopoly?
Natural monopoly.
Told
that does not.
They don't form without government intervention, man. They collapse under their own weight, basically. Competition. If you had a true laissez-faire system, monopolies wouldn't form. I disagree with laissez-faire capitalism in general for many other reasons, but it's true that monopolies wouldn't form.
Yeah. Also, I do want to state out the obvious that the state is a monopoly. So you're sitting here arguing against monopolies also, but you support a state, which is in fact a monopoly, which I think is a bit hypocritical.
I support a state having like an economic.
Yeah, but that's okay. So then you're not really against monopolies. Then it's just monopolies you don't like. That is basically.
It's monopolies that like you can't confirm have a.
I guess
it's monopolies you don't like that.
The hope.
Monopolies I can't confirm don't have good intentions.
Yes, the monopolies you don't like.
Well, that's why you can't trust the state, though, right? If the state has a monopoly over every industry, you can't confirm that it will permanently have the the interest of the worker in mind forever.
Agreed.
Like eventually,
that's why competition is really good. Because if you have multiple competing firms, you could choose one over the other. Whereas with a state, you only have one option.
That's why the workers control the means of production.
Yeah, but if the workers want to own the means of production under anarcho-capitalism, that's more likely to happen. Because fundamentally, there still would be literally nothing stopping you from starting your own worker-owned cooperative.
Other companies.
No, under anarcho-capitalism, no company would have the right to stop you from starting a workers' cooperative.
No company would have the legal right, but they would have the force.
They could compete with you in the market.
Yeah. Yes, but when there's a market, when the market is completely free and there's absolutely nothing, like no parameters, like they can basically do whatever they want. For example, like I'll give like an example here. If one company decided to start putting like an addictive substance into whatever they were selling, which made and they didn't like disclose this information, and it made people want to buy it more, right? And they had a lot of this substance, and the other company didn't. The company that's producing the substance and is putting the substance into whatever their product they're selling is going to have a natural advantage over the one.
Okay, so why can't the co-op do the exact same thing and then make that money too?
I just explained to you that I just explained to you that like in most cases, one company is going to have like a.
What's stopping you from making the same chemical?
Honestly, man, co-ops do struggle with competition though, because when the company controls capital, they can strategically deploy capital to better compete with other corporations and win them out. If all of it is equally shared by the employees, they will be weaker at competition. Like theoretically, they could still, beat them out. Maybe they're more intelligent. Maybe they're better at making the product. I don't know, but they start off weaker than a a normal corporation
one-
inherently.
Sounds like a skill issue.
But King, at one point, a company becomes so large that they physically, like, especially like in an unregulated market.
I've already went over this. You won't expect companies to get that large in an unregulated market. I've already explained why.
I know, but I was making. But first of all, I was kind of connecting here to Master Bob's argument, like stating that like it wouldn't, that like co-ops would like be at a natural disadvantage, and I think that natural disadvantage would decline. You decline the more and more the company.
Hey, do you know what's putting co-ops at a disadvantage? Them getting taxed by the state, right?
Yeah, I believe in like private ownership.
Oh, so then maybe we should abolish taxation, and then they'll be on a level playing field with other private companies, and then
No, I would just rather every company be taxed extremely high at the same.
even co-ops.
I think.
I mean, a co-op is a company, right?
I mean, I'm willing to have like a progressive tax form, but like I think I don't know how much I would apply it to companies. It would have to.
Yeah, but a co-op is a company.
Well, I'll give an example. If like they're like in a situation that's like per se that we're having like that like the product that's being sold is like like isn't like kind of needed or isn't like very essential, then I don't really see the reasoning.
How do you determine what's essential and not essential? Shouldn't that be individuals choosing based on their current condition and the money that they have in a free market?
I mean, first of all, I don't believe in like a authoritarian state. You can have a democratic state.
I don't think you can have a state that isn't authoritarian. That's impossible.
I agree that you might not be able to have that, but I believe that you can like set out the parameters of a state to make it.
Even if it's democratic. I think democracy is evil.
I agree with you that most states are going to become authoritarian.
All states are authoritarian. The second that it becomes a state, it is authoritarian from the simple fact that taxation is theft.
No, I don't think taxation is theft in most cases.
Wait, how is it not theft?
Because it's first. I know it's gonna be like this, but we live in a society, right?
We live in a society.
Yeah,
sorry,
I know.
Sorry, see, I know. Go ahead.
I knew I was gonna get that reaction.
I know. Go ahead.
The people have to like contribute to other things. So, per se, if you want the roads to be paved, you pay taxes. Now, I agree with you that if taxes aren't going to things that are benefiting the people, then it is stealing. That is my agreement. But that's why I believe in like a more socialist, where the people and the workers have more of a determination of where the taxes are going.
Yeah, but the thing is, wouldn't a free market be the most socialist thing ever? Because if you own something and you own your own money, then you get to choose exactly where your money goes. Whereas with the state, they take your money and then they choose where your money goes.
I don't think that like I don't think like a person has like the ability to pay for like to like set up like complete road manufacturing like a state would.
No, but wait a minute, you never heard of a toll road?
I don't think that like
I guess I'll say I don't like that argument, man. Toll roads are a bit dumb because like the highways were created by the government, right? They enable an immense amount of commerce because they're created and maintained by the government. We have a huge system. A private corporation wouldn't put this extreme expense into creating such a vast network of highways that therefore caused a huge amount of economic growth. Don't you think there's some role for at least some government to, enable massive infrastructure projects like that do help the economy at large? Like toll roads can exist, but yeah.
No.
Okay.
Because taxation is theft. Fundamentally, your money belongs to you, and for the state to, I mean, it doesn't matter what utility calculation that you're trying to use and be like, oh, this is better off for society. I don't care. It does not give you the right to take my property. My property is my own, and I ought to have to spend it on what I will.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that it's okay for, let's say, that the government, instead of it, being how it's currently structured? Oh yeah. Imagine that we had it set up where it's like a membership. And if you want that membership, you have to, abide by the rule of paying taxes. So Do you think that that's fair?
Is it like
create,
an opt-out system?
Yeah, you opt out, but the membership.
That's what I support. That's what I support.
Okay, but a part of that membership, what you get with being a part of the membership is you reside in the country.
So long as the only thing that I would support, the only way I would support that is if they are the owner of the land. If they are the owner of the land, then yes. If they are not, then no. But my argument would be that the state is not the owner of the land, and the reason why that is because the state did not. The only legitimate way in which you could become the owner of anything under the libertarian ethic would be through getting it through original appropriation or voluntary transaction. And we do not believe that the state got their land through original appropriation or voluntary transaction.
Do you agree that like it would be fair to have it set up in the case where you're part of the membership, and if you're not, you're the terms state that you no longer will reside in the country, right? That's part
assuming they are the owner of the land, then yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But if they are not, then no.
Let's not say owner of the land, because they can sell you the land.
Yeah, but that's the only thing. That's the only thing that would make a difference for me.
But they would have jurisdiction.
I don't care about jurisdiction.
Why don't you care about jurisdiction?
Because what I care about is ownership.
Well, so the jurisdiction is the enforcement of the membership.
Yeah, are you the owner?
Who are you asking?
Is the person who is making a claim over your land the owner of the land?
No, but they.
Okay, so then I don't care.
Jurisdiction.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. I mean, I guess it seems to me, man, if you don't really care about some sort of utilitarian outcome, and you are more religiously defending this idea of taxation is theft and property rights, like, that's fine if that's your perspective, but generally speaking, most people want to maximize positive outcomes for the most people possible, and a capitalist system with some government intervention seems to do that. I gave the example of the interstate highway system, but that's why I'd say most people wouldn't agree with anarcho-capitalism, because it does not create the best outcome for the most amount of people. This mixed economy does.
Well, I disagree.
Okay.
Well, so you're assuming that's an assumption. For me, I would assume I could make the assumption in the opposite direction, which is like, oh, well, I believe that having anarcho-capitalism will lead to such a great free market that it's gonna, feed so many people and create such excess to the point where we have like Star Trek replicator machines and because of that, consequentially, not having anarcho-capitalism or utilitarianly not having anarcho-capitalism would then justify trying to abolish the state.
Except we have
based
evidence.
On your assumptions.
We have evidence. No, we have evidence that this highway system led to a huge amount of growth and a huge amount of business opportunities.
Does correlation equals causation?
In this case, it's a direct result because businesses use
Wait, does
these
correlation
highway
equals
systems.
Causation? Who's to say that we would have been? Wait. Who's to say that if I were to argue? Who's to say that if we installed anarcho-capitalism, that we would have been even more? We would have had even more wealth than we would have had otherwise if we hadn't instituted that.
I can actually tell you why. It's because
it's called the seen and the unseen.
No single corporation under anarcho-capitalism could possibly have the amount of capital to deploy to create this interstate system. Okay, it's simply
but you don't need
that system.
Why does one private company need to make an whole interstate system? I mean, why can't they have multiple companies? Why don't you have multiple companies who just buy strips of land and then they pay to connect with each other? And then
the technology existed and none of them did that.
What are you talking about? Toll roads don't exist?
Toll roads do exist, but
okay, so then you're wrong.
They didn't create massive infrastructure like this. They only
toll highways don't exist.
Small areas, they do only in small specific areas, man.
Well, maybe if the state did enforce all of these roads everywhere, people. What would happen is that people would really, really want to get from point A to point B. So what they could do is they could pay these people who own like these strips of land to basically let them use their road, and then they could use some of that money to basically pay for the upkeep of that road, and then we wouldn't need no state to forcibly impose taxes in order to keep and maintain roads. We could do it that way, right?
I got a question for you.
What's up, bro?
So do you do we have control over our government in any way, shape, or form? Like, are we able to like control it
currently
and what it does? Just any government.
I mean, what depends on what you mean by government.
Yeah, like the U.S. government, like through our votes, through.
To a certain degree, we control certain policies, but for the most part, no.
Okay, but we do have some level of control over them.
Some level, but I would say it's very small.
Okay. Do you think that you have more control over, like Amazon and what they do?
Well, no, because I'm not the owner of their property.
Right. So this is the point, right? So,
well, but I shouldn't have a right over their stuff, right? Why should I have a right over Amazon stuff?
Hold on. Let me land this plane. You had said that the government is the biggest corporation before, right? I think you said something like that.
No, I said that the biggest monopoly.
Oh, the biggest monopoly, right? All right. Well, we can make the analogy that they're the biggest monopoly because they're the biggest corporation in a sense, right? They have the most control, right? But in this case, right, we have control over this, quote unquote corporation, whatever, right? But what you're proposing is get rid of that, right? This corporation that we have control over, right? And replace.
Well, they're not a corporation; they're a state.
Right. Well, I'm just using, I'm just swapping out the terms, just for, like to make it analogous, right? You're proposing that we get rid of that, right, and replace that with like Amazon, and all these other companies, right, that we have no control over whatsoever, right? So
what do you mean? You don't have control over them. You don't have to. If you don't like their product, you don't have to buy from them, correct?
Oh, I don't. Well, not always. No.
And if you don't buy from them, they don't. Do they affect you in any way? In any negative way? Do they affect you in any negative way? How does Amazon affect you in a negative way?
They pollute the environment. They fucking they have shitty fucking workers' rights.
All right, okay, that's actually one thing I agree with. Well, shitty workers' rights I don't care about. I really do not care, because if a person chooses to work for Amazon, and that's up to them. But the first part I do agree with. If Amazon does pay pollute the air, and it does affect you in a negative way, in some measurable way, I do believe that they would owe you some restitution. Yeah, 100%.
Well, how are we gonna? Okay, so perfect. So how do we enforce that? Let's say Amazon says, "Fuck you."
Through private security agencies. Private security agencies. Yeah. Or your insurance company whose job it is to protect you from torts or violations of property rights.
Or the insurance company. Okay. Well, do you think that my little private security agency has any chance of going up against $1 billion Jeff Bezos and Amazon?
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
You know why? Because we're gonna have guns. We're gonna have laser beams. We're gonna have like these awesome we're just gonna have such a great free market. And we're gonna just have like no patent laws and no restrictions. We're just gonna be able to create the best guns, the most greatest laser technology, the most greatest. Amazon wouldn't even have a chance.
You said
Absolutely.
no patent laws? You can't patent anything?
Nope. No. Yeah.
Okay.
No. So anytime that another government creates like any technology, we just take it, we copy it, and we make it better. And then we just become way stronger than any other government. And then we use guerrilla warfare to basically destroy them.
Well, it wouldn't just be copying from governments. It would just be copying from like anybody could just copy anyone, right?
Yeah.
So I could just copy Apple right now and just start selling iPhones.
Yeah, and you could also copy Amazon and sell the same exact things that they're selling, so they wouldn't really be a large company for long on their Ancapistan.
Right. Okay, so here's where we run into the issue of so let's say I tried to do that right now. Let's say I tried to copy Amazon or Apple, right? I have nowhere near the resources that Amazon has.
Didn't we? Hold on. I'm sorry. One second. Didn't we argue the other day?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just.
Oh yeah. We did. So I don't have nearly the level of resources that Amazon or Apple does, right? I'm just lowly me, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got factories, billions of dollars, all these resources to do the R&D on the iPhone and whatnot. So what is to stop them from just continuing to
our private security agencies are just going to come in there and
I have no
them
money
up.
for a private
We're going to
security
fuck them
agency.
up. No, because
I have no money for that.
No, but there's going to be no poor people. The reason why is because we're just going to have such a great free market that there's just going to be such an abundance of charities and all these beautiful things that'll just come out of nowhere that'll just throw you money so that you can take care of yourself.
Security agency.
All of the amazing private security agencies around, and then if somebody doesn't have money, you know, and all the amazing Ancapistaners who are just going to come together and pay for these insurance companies to protect the areas, and all of us Ancapistaners are, because we have just such an amazing free market and open and amazing creativity, we're just going to have all these guns and weapons of mass destruction to just completely vaporize any company that just or government that just comes in here and tries to fuck us up.
Okay, perfect. So tell me more about this insurance company, because it kind of sounds like you're reinventing.
No, it's gonna be it's not one insurance company. It's gonna be multiple hundreds of competing insurance companies that then compete with each other, and then one creates an amazing design, and then they copy each other, and then like they just do everything they can to just get ahead of each other, and then, you know, because of that, they just give us such great amazing services that anytime that a government tries to come and fuck with us, we just completely just eviscerate them in one fell swoop.
So you're saying that it's the insurance company's job to represent and protect the people of the community.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. They're going to protect us, and us Ancapistaners are just
sounds a lot like a state to me.
No, it's not a state, because it's not forceful. There's not a forceful extraction of wealth by the, you know, you choose to pay. You'd be like, hey, I want to pay, and if you don't want to pay, if nobody wants to pay, us Ancapistaners, right? We're gonna just come together with our guns, because there's going to be no gun control, and our bombs and our nukes, and we're gonna just fend off any and use guerrilla warfare to fend off any group of people that tries to step on us.
Oh, guerrilla warfare. Is this going to be like insurgency type shit?
Bro. Like, yes. Even by like Terminator, you know, the guys that survived against the Terminators. The Terminators had like all these lasers and purple lasers and blah, 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 blah. So what they did is they just used guerrilla warfare, and then they just won, because even though they had superior arms and technology, that's going to be us.
This sounds like a highly thought out plan.
It's amazing, bro. You just got to join us, man.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to work out, man.
It's going to work, man. Trust.
But I respect you trying to convince me of it.
It's gonna work, bro. Watch. Once Argentina gets with Javier Milei, turns into Ancapistan, and the Argentinians are gonna just stop calling themselves Argentinians and call themselves Ancapistaners from Ancapistana. They're just gonna if everything, you're gonna see how amazing it is, and then you're gonna want to leave your country and go there.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
It's gonna be great. Yo, Gucci, you should join my Discord. And you too, Ty Lark.
What's your Discord?
Let me add you as a friend.
Tell me it's an ANCAP server.
It is.
Of course it is.
It's called KingSithis, and it's the ANCAP Discord. So you can argue with any of us ANCAPs in there, and we will destroy you with facts and logic. Yes, you could join. You could join. Any of you, I'm sorry, I'm talking to my chat. Just gotta click the link in my description, or the bio. It should be in the link tree. Once you're in the link tree, you're good to go.
Word. Oh, you're a YouTuber? Let me see your YouTube. What's your YouTube?
Add me as a friend, or accept my friend request, and I'll send it to you.
I gotcha.
Alright, I'm gonna turn the chat back on. Okay, cool. Give me 1 sec. Let me just send you a link. So if you go to I'm gonna just show these guys something to TikTok. KingSithis. If you go to my TikTok, it should say right here, Linktree. If you click this Linktree, it'll show right here. These are my links. Right here it says my Discord, and then boom, you're good to go. Now let me send him my YouTube channel real quick. Battlefield 5 looks pretty dope, doesn't it?
What's your YouTube
Battlefield
channel?
6. KingSithis. It's my YouTube, my username.
What do you do on it?
I talk about anarcho-capitalism and I live stream World of Warcraft.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm coming out with a new video soon. It's going to be on the labor theory of value, where I completely destroy the labor theory of value. And socialism. I completely destroyed those guys. They had so much that they left. You're the only one standing.
It's because I'm like that.
Master Bob's channel. Yeah, he left because he was like, fuck that gang. But, anarcho-capitalism, man, it's pretty based. Going the wrong way.
Dude,
My stereo system is based.
Wait, do you play World of Warcraft, right?
Me?
Highlark?
Oh, no, I don't play World of Warcraft.
Oh, no. Oh, I got you mistaken for someone else then.
Maybe it was PPN.
Oh, no, it was another older gentleman. But yeah, join my Discord, everybody in my who's watching.
What's going on here, you liberal sazy?
We're discussing anarcho-capitalism.
Oh.
Do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, do you have any arguments for or against it?
Whoa, what's the minority?
What's the
what? What's the minority of what's the side of the minority in this room?
Okay, so anarcho-capitalism is basically...
I know what it is. I mean, are we against it? Are we for it?
Oh, I'm for it. Everybody else is against it.
Against it? Okay.
What's your definition of it?
Oh, so the definition of anarcho-capitalism is basically...
abolition of state.
A stateless free market society.
And law and order being based on, like, so to speak, basically instigated by private
it would be
private
competing arbitration agencies or insurance companies whose job it is to protect the people.
That'd be just like microstates, but sure, like micro government.
I would say government, not state, but you know.
No. You basically have police brutality versus like guerrilla warfare. I don't think that would be working out, but.
Well, I mean, if you're going to criticize me for having police, or the private police for having police brutality, well, then I have a whole lot of YouTube videos to show you.
Well, the point is just because you're making distinction between quote-unquote private police and federal police, you know, kind of doesn't actually...
The federal police, they can do a lot of brutality.
No, they can. So can private. The point is there's no qualitative distinction in the end of it.
I would say there would be, because I would say that if you're a private company, you're going to be incentivized not to use excessive force, because that would then incentivize the people who are paying you not to want to pay you.
Oh, really? The same way a lot of companies destroy the environment, their workers, and
fun fact: Black Wall Street had private
police. The reason why they destroy the environment is because the state allows them. They basically give them a permit to. You're allowed to pollute this amount, so long as it's okay with us. If for under in Kazakhstan, if somebody pollutes on your private property and you have some way to demonstrate that your property has been damaged, that person would have to owe you some sort of restitution, and that would be a crime.
Yep.
Yes, this tar is just the stuff.
Not the yappy.
Hey,
the
wait a
point
minute,
is,
my
if
hands.
there was no state,
I can't seem to get
it would
them
be allowed
apart.
to begin with.
Maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
No, it would not be, and the reason why that would be is because if somebody pollutes any of your private property, they would owe you money, and that would then incentivize private companies to pollute the least amount that they can, so they don't have to pollute, so they don't have to pay off a whole bunch of people whom they're basically screwing over by polluting on their land.
Who proves that you polluted their land?
You basically show the evidence that your land is being polluted. So let's say you own a lake, and then a private company decides to
as an
dump a bunch of
group, you
bunch of
legally
black
can't
shit
own
into
land
it.
to stop people.
Into it. You could basically you could take a picture of it, and then you could show your insurance company, and then they would basically.
It's not black. It's not like it's completely translucent. It looks like water, as a matter of fact, and it doesn't.
Okay,
foam.
there's still ways you could prove that.
Sure. Who proves it though?
Well, you could prove it. You could pay somebody to help you prove it.
Oh, okay.
So your insurance company to do it.
Invest money. You need to invest money to get money from somebody else.
Well, yeah, and that's how the state works too.
Exactly. You get the point.
Yeah, that's how every system works. But the difference between my system and your system is that the state forcibly extracts your wealth.
I don't have a system.
I mean, you don't support the state?
Not in its current form.
But you do support the state, right?
Not in its current form. What are you talking about?
You don't support a state? You're an anarchist like me? So we're both anarchists?
I didn't say that.
Okay, so then you do support a state, right?
Not in its current form.
I know not in your current form, but you would ideally support a state, right? Like, I'm not asking you if you support... Did I ask you if you support the state in its current form?
Where would you like to fly to?
Wait, no, whoa. Did I say that or no?
Huh?
Did I ask you if you supported the state in its current form?
No.
Okay, so then why are you answering that question as opposed to addressing the question that I actually asked you?
Because you are asking me an arbitrary question. Undefined.
So are you unable to answer the question? Like, do you not know the answer, or?
No, I'm trying to very politely and indirectly convey to you that your question is indirect.
I mean, I don't know how much more direct I could be. I'm literally asking you, do you support a state?
Wait, a state?
Yes.
Oh, a state.
Were you not listening the first 5 times I told you, or not?
I heard this state. I have one earbud in my ear.
Oh. Yeah. Do you support a state?
Do I support a state?
Yes. Unless you're an anarchist like me.
I wouldn't call myself an anarchist. I also... I do not support a state, no.
Then you're with us, bro.
Whatever you say.
Well, I mean, then what do you support?
In terms of governmental structure within a society, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of things. I could start from like an anarchist view, but also like from a state view, you know, with a certain newly employed systems and a lot of downsizing of current governmental systems. For example, a somewhat merit-based feudal system would very nice work with like a unified codex.
Are you a monarchist?
No.
Or minarchist?
However, like some. Oh, I could see this though, like in AI, you know, like a unified AI anarchy. You know, if you think of Brave New World, of course, more practical.
Have like an AI, like a Terminator control us and tell us what to do.
What a Terminator? I don't know what you mean by Terminator.
Well, you never seen a Terminator movie?
I've seen all Terminator movies.
Well, it's like an AI. So basically, the Terminator movie is like an AI that like destroys the world.
Okay, Terminator is an AI. Yeah, I didn't say Terminator though. That's weird.
I was just using it as an example.
Yeah, nah, no Terminator.
Okay.
A properly AI specifically designed to effectively.
But it wouldn't be bad. It would be good. An AI.
Whatever that means, it would not just arbitrarily damage people.
Came from Discord.
Sorry,
I was talking to my chat. All right, man. Well, any other arguments you want to make, or what's something you're really passionate about?
I'm really passionate about.
I got
a question for you.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so if you think that you can, that like anarcho-capitalism would work, right? Surely you could like simulate this in some manner, right?
Yeah, there's real life examples of countries that are similar to anarcho-capitalism. Yeah, I could give you.
No, I'm not even just like like I was watching you play, World of Warcraft. I'm just saying, like, in a community, do you think that this is like something that is like feasible? Like, imagine that, like,
assuming that we all believed
here,
and agreed in the non-aggression principle, it would need we would need a community of like libertarian-minded people that support the non-aggression principle, and yeah, it would work very well. I would say so. But the thing is, like, the shift in expectations and ideology that we need.
Imagine we did that just with, Discord, right? Like, I'm sure that you have some mods on your server, right?
So, like, so basically my Discord would be in Kapistan.
Right, but why do you have mods?
Because it's my property.
No, it's your property. All right,
Yes.
all right. But like, if we were to like simulate this, why can't it be the case that you can
if you're on your own property, you could tell anyone who's on it to do whatever they want, and if they don't like it, they can leave. If it's my Discord, I'm the owner of the land.
Right. I agree.
Okay.
But why is it the case that in your community you can't allow these people to just, do as they wish, and while on your property, you're basically the government
because it's my
of your property.
I am the government of my property, yeah, but I'm not a state.
Okay, perfect.
You know why?
So you believe in a state, but only for a
No.
property.
A government and a state is not the same thing.
Oh, okay. So please explain to me the difference.
So the government is just basically the idea of, well, governing your property or anything in which you claim over, basically. So government is, just governing, just protecting something that belongs to you. Whereas a state, they govern things that don't belong to them. That's the difference.
Okay, so you're only...
Also, I'm not forcing anyone to use my Discord server, by the way, so that wouldn't really apply.
Well, nobody's forcing you to, reside in the United States, are they?
Yeah, but they're forcing me to pay taxes, even if I don't want it.
Right, but if I let's say
are they the owner of? Wait, are they the owner of the United States?
We collectively, as the public, own the country.
I don't believe in collective ownership. That doesn't make sense.
Well, we control the government, and the government controls the land. It doesn't own it, but it controls it.
Okay, what I care about is whether or not they own it, and if they don't own it, then they don't have the right to tell me what to do.
Why does it matter if they own it?
Because then that would give them the right to tell me what to do with it.
So
if they're not the owner, they don't have the right to tell me what to do with it.
And do you think that this like applies to like an extreme? Like, let's say. Let me give you an example.
Well, let me give you an example. The state would be like if I came to your Discord and forced rules on your Discord. That's a state. Whereas a government would be like telling you, hey, don't go onto my Discord and say the N-word.
Well, actually, it would be more like Discord coming into your Discord and telling you what to do, right? They don't own your server.
They do own the server.
They do?
Yes.
So you're not.
I'm renting the server from them.
So you're not the owner.
Well, I'm not the owner, but the owner is giving me permission to do what I want with it, which then basically gives me the right to do what I want with it. So, for instance, if you rent a house from another person, you're not the owner of that house, but you've given them money in order to let you stay in that house. So they've given you some rights to do what you want with the house, so long as you don't do anything that doesn't breach the contract.
So why don't I just say that you're renting all your property that you quote unquote buy
because
from
the state because the state is not the owner of the land.
Why? Well, so I would argue that they are.
Okay, so have they gotten it? They were okay. So that would imply that they are not now.
Well, they sold it.
Okay, so then they're not the owners.
Or not sold it. They rented it. Sorry.
Okay, so then they're not the owner. I need to get food and drink for my character.
Well, I'm just thinking back to like history, right?
We don't get
So if
many
we think of
tourists
things
down
like,
this
you
way.
know,
I
like
mean,
the
history's not going to be on
Louisiana
your
drink,
side
make
on that
yourself
one. I'll tell you that much.
Well,
Say,
why?
you look
Because
like
if we
you have
think
some
of like
meat
the
on your
Louisiana
bones.
Purchase,
You
right?
thinking
Was
about
that not
competing
the
in the
government
cage
purchasing
Where did they get the money to
land?
pay for that?
Are you interested in
I don't
exploring one
fucking
of
know.
these
They got the
Through
money
taxation.
and
They
they
literally
bought it.
went into debt to pay for that
no
shit.
shortage of meat. Care to browse
That's
my
theft.
goods?
They stole money from
Well, they
people to
bought
pay
it.
for that. Yeah, they're
They
using
bought
stolen
it.
money. Money
Okay,
they
well,
stole
what
from
if I
people.
say that? What if I say that corporations steal money from you?
They don't steal money from you because if they did, they wouldn't be a corporation now, would they?
Suffering a drought.
It would be they would be a criminal organization.
Care to browse my
So,
goods?
so where did you buy?
Kind of like the state.
Where do you get your water from?
The faucet.
Or your food? Your food. How about that? That's a better one.
Where do I
you
get my
your
food? McDonald's. I eat
Yeah.
at McDonald's every day.
Okay. All right. So, can you like just choose not to like, you know, eat at like any corporation that sells food?
Yes.
Like you. So you're right now. You're telling me that you can choose to just go out and like hunt for your food.
Yes, I can actually.
You can. Have
Yes.
you ever done that?
No.
Why
Because-
don't you do that?
Because I choose to buy from the corporation.
Why do you do that? So let's say the corporation.
you
was doing
realize you just proved yourself wrong, right?
How did I prove myself wrong?
Because because you're asking me why did I buy from the corporation? You're not being forced. Never mind. And then when I tell you why, I'd be like, well, because I want to, and then you're like, oh, well then you do realize that you have the ability to go and hunt, and I said yes. And it's like, okay, so then why do you want to? And I was like, because I want to. I choose to. So you're proving that it's a consensual transaction.
No, it's not consensual. So it might be for you, but let's say you were in a wheelchair, right? Would you be able to go out and like hunt for your food?
Yes.
You would. You're telling me you would be out there hunting for your food in a
You
fucking
saying
wheelchair?
a wheelchair? You think a wheelchair person can't hold a gun?
I'm saying that you're not really gonna get around in the forest too well in a fucking wheelchair.
You get some bionic legs.
All right, this is impractical. That's not.
How is that impractical? How is that not practical?
Not everyone can just get fucking bionic legs.
Oh, tough luck. You don't
Not
deserve. You don't have
reasonable.
the right to. I mean, nobody's. Even if you didn't have. Even if you were in a situation where you couldn't hunt, you couldn't get food on your own, whatever. That would not mean that the private company is forcing you to buy from them. In the end of the day, you choose to buy from them, even if not buying from them leads to your death. Fundamentally, it's still a choice.
So, do you choose what hospital you go to when you get?
No, the
injured?
person who's taking you chooses.
Oh, okay. So, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it depends on how I feel afterwards, after I wake up.
Well, like, do you think that that's like, so like, in that example, what if like all the places that you had available to you, were just like shitty people, right? And you didn't want to go to these corporations. Are you being forced to go to one of them?
No.
You're not being forced. So you get shot right now, and you're telling me you're not going to be forced to go to the hospital?
Who's forcing
to one
you?
of these hospitals?
Who's forcing you to go to the hospital?
The imminent threat on your life?
Who's that?
The bullet that just went through your chest?
Yeah, is that a person?
No, but you're still,
Okay, so then nobody's forcing you.
That's
That's not a person, so you can't say
the
like
person that
someone's
shot you. Okay, the person that shot you.
Okay, so they're forcing you to go to the hospital?
So, all right, we don't even have to go to that. Let's just say you injured yourself in an accident. You were doing something out in the yard.
Okay,
and
so it doesn't
you
matter.
injured
They're not.
yourself.
Who's forcing you? Again, it doesn't change the argument. Who's forcing you to go to the hospital? No
You're
one's
telling
forcing
me
you.
you're not forced to go to a hospital if you're like just gonna bleed out otherwise.
In the sense that another person is forcing you to go to that hospital, no, absolutely not.
That's ridiculous.
How is that ridiculous? Who's forcing you?
The availability of your options. That's why you're being forced. You have these certain.
Okay, let me be more
available
precise.
options
Let me
to
be
you.
more precise. Who is forcing you?
The people who own the hospitals.
So they're coming up to you and forcing you down and then making you go to
Well,
the
they're
hospital?
just letting you bleed out if you don't come to them.
So they're not forcing you?
All right, let me. So, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say we're on an island, right?
Okay.
And we're in the middle of the ocean, and I got to this island way before you, right?
Yeah.
And I collected all the coconuts and all the food on the island, right?
Mhm.
And you get on that island a little bit later, and you need some food, and I tell you,
I know where this is
all right,
going.
that's fine. I'll give you some food, but you know, all you have to do for some food is, you know, suck my dick.
Mhm.
Would that be a consensual or like offer?
Yeah.
That would be.
Wait, is sex work not real work?
Well, I'm saying that.
Wait. Let me. I just want to quick. Wait. I want a quick yes or no to this. Is sex work not real work?
Yeah, of course it's real work.
Okay, so then you're saying that. Wait, but wouldn't it logically follow from that hypothetical, right? You're saying that's a coercive situation, that we should abolish all sex work.
No, it's not about sex work. It's about
that is sex work. You're that's not. How is it coercive? And then all sex work should be banned because all sex work is coercive. You're exchanging some sort of goods or service in exchange for the sexual transaction, right?
No, that's not the point. You're missing
that is the point. That literally is the point. How is it not the point?
You're taking away the wrong point. Oh my God.
What do you mean?
The point is that, did you agree
I literally answered the question.
Coercive?
It is a consensual transaction.
You agree that it's coercive, right?
No, I'm not agreeing. I'm literally saying the opposite. I'm agreeing that it's a consensual transaction.
It's a consensual transaction in regular society because you're not being coerced. You're not going to die if you don't go do sex work.
Okay.
Okay, so
that doesn't change anything for me in the slightest.
The point is, when you're on the island, you have no other option but to go do the sex work.
Yeah, but some people would argue that some women don't have any other option but to do sex work.
Well,
so
that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about
that is what you're talking about because you're talking about exchanging goods and services for sex, and I'm saying
I gave you.
I said it is. I literally am arguing. I've given you my answer, and my answer is I don't think it's coercive.
Okay. So what do you think coercive is?
Coercive is when you have some threat of force behind some sort of action that you require from or giving up some sort of good or service from some other person. So, for instance, if I come up to you and I say
coercive means manipulative too, in some senses.
No.
Trying to get
coercive.
to do something.
So coercion, from how I would view coercion, is some sort of threat of force. There has to be some sort of threat of force behind it.
What
do you define as a threat of force?
I'm gonna do X to you if you do not do X for me.
Okay. So what if I say what if I say I'm gonna let you starve to death unless you do sex work for me?
Okay, so then sex work is not real.
Is that coercive?
No, it's not coercive.
It's not coercive.
Are you the owner of the thing that you're withholding from me?
I own all the coconuts on mine.
So no, it's not coercive.
They're all mine. It's not coercive. Okay.
No. So sex work is not real work. Let me get a quick yes or no.
I already gave you an answer to that. It's real work. That's not the point.
You just said it's not real work because you just said in that situation. You just said in that situation that exchanging a scarce resource for money or for sex is a coercive situation. So I'm not sure why.
Because you have no other option other than die.
Yes,
That's
you do. You do have another option.
What's the other option?
Dying.
Dying?
Yeah, that is the other option. So you do have another option.
I said you either. That's not an option.
That is an option. That is the other option. That is an option.
That's the whole point.
How is it not an option? You can't choose to die.
Okay, so I come up to you and I put a gun to your head and I say,
the last option in a
there's
game
a threat
is
of force
there
in that situation. It's not the same.
So I put a gun to your head.
There's a threat of force in that situation.
So what's the difference?
Because there's no threat of force. Withholding something that you own from somebody is not a threat of force.
You're looking at it a little too robotically, right? A choice of death doesn't count as an option because it is an option to literally not have any other options.
Withholding something that you own from somebody is not a threat.
withholding something which you. Yeah, repeat that.
Withholding something that you own from somebody is not a threat.
What is it then?
It's just you exercising your property rights. A threat is I'm going to do X if you do not give me the X or do X for me.
Okay.
That is a
Perfect.
threat.
Okay. So the X that I'm going to do is I'm going to withhold my food from you.
Yeah, but that's exercising
to the
your
point where
property
you
rights.
starve. That's
Wait,
that's
are you
coercive. That
wait?
falls
So
under what
are you
said.
okay? So
I'm gonna do
wait,
X if you
so
don't.
does
If you don't,
your
do...
body causes you. Your body causes you to get hungry, right?
Yes.
So therefore, your body is coercing you.
What?
Your body is coercing
No.
you because your body's forcing you to eat.
That's so irrelevant.
It is. What do you
so,
mean?
Like,
your
what am
body
I
is
supposed
forcing you
do
to
about
eat.
that? This is just like a
Exactly.
fundamental, like, this is how, like,
Exactly.
like the world works.
I know.
Nothing...
That is how the world works. If I own something and I withhold it from you, I'm not threatening you. All I'm doing is withholding my property from you.
That's a societal thing. I'm talking about, like, this is like a physics thing. Like,
okay.
Like, you need to replenish the energy in your body. Like,
I understand
what
that.
What am I gonna do? Like, get mad at the fucking second law of thermodynamics? Like,
what am I supposed to do? Get mad at
here?
nature for the fact that you get hungry? And my property is my property. I don't owe that shit to you simply because you're hungry.
So the point would be that you're telling me that if I don't do X, you're gonna let me starve.
Am I in the sense that I'm going to cause some physical harm to you from either my property, which would be my body, or any good or service that I own. I'm not going to be, but if I withhold something from you, you dying of natural forces, that's not my fault. I didn't cause that action. I didn't cause you to starve. It's your body that caused you to starve.
By making the choice.
Okay, so then your body,
to share your resources.
okay, so then your body is also at fault because it's causing you to starve.
So what am I going to do about my body? I don't. That's not
exactly. What are you going to do about me? That's not my fault. That's your body is
I
starving.
can do
It's not
something
my
about
fault.
you.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault that your body is starving.
I can do something about you. You're a totally different person.
I mean, you could rob me. You could violate my rights.
Anything. Huh?
You could rob me. Yeah.
Right, but this isn't like, like obviously like a good system to go about things, is it?
I completely disagree. I don't think it's right to rob people.
Have you ever heard of coercive control?
And I also think sex work is real work. Go ahead.
King, have you ever heard of coercive control?
Say that again?
Why are you saying no, you don't?
Hold on, the lady's talking. You're kind of being rude. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
King, have you ever heard of coercive control?
No. Never heard of that.
You don't need to use acts of threats or violence to coercive control. You can use manipulation and isolation and all that other stuff too.
Nah, yeah, I disagree with that.
Why do you disagree with that?
Because there's no threat of force, and if I say I don't want to be around you, that I'm not threatening you with anything. I'm not threatening you. I'm not saying I'm gonna do this to you. I'm saying I don't want to be with you.
Coercive control.
Yeah, I disagree with that definition.
So if I'm getting you correctly, you think sex work is real work because... Wait,
yes, I think it's okay to exchange scarce resources for sex, yes. I think that's perfectly okay.
Since when was there ever a debate whether sex work is real work or not?
Well, because he asked me, he said that basically if you are on an island and the guy asks you to give him a blowjob in exchange. Okay, I could. So you're saying, are you saying? Okay, liminal. Are you saying that is it impossible for me to disagree with a definition? I understand that. Is it impossible for me to disagree with a definition? That is it or no? Okay.
Well, who are you asking? You're asking her now?
I'm asking liminal.
Are you just denying the normative function of language?
Yeah, I disagree with that definition, yes.
You don't need to be violent and hit or whatever the person. You can use isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
okay,
'cause
I
it
got you. I don't use that.
implied within the naming doesn't mean that it needs to necessarily hold truth, objective truth.
Anyways, you're not going to
What's the problem
etymology.
with
You're not going to
expert?
etymology your way out of this debate. Fundamentally, I don't think it's okay to use force against another person, even if, regardless of whether I use coercion or not. I don't believe it's okay to use unwanted force against innocent people.
What do you mean by unwanted force? Like unwanted by the recipient?
You don't know what unwanted force is?
I'm gonna ask you. Okay, so do you think that if like when we arrest someone, like, and we we put them in an interrogation room, right?
That's not an innocent person.
That's right, but let's say that we leave them in there for a little while, or we sleep deprive them a good bit, right? And then we question them, right? Do you think that's like us, like, coercing them?
Is he innocent?
Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't. We don't know.
Okay, so then yes, you are coercing them because you haven't proved that he's guilty yet.
I mean, all interrogations.
You locked him in a room.
usually- pretty much all interrogations happen with people that haven't been proven guilty yet.
That's why you
kinda
need
how-
their consent in order to interrogate them.
Oh, you need their consent to interrogate them.
Well, I would hope so. If not, then you would be violating their rights.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
then.
but the point being, if we leave them in the room, we leave them in the room, we sleep deprive them, and then we question them.
You would be violating that person's rights. Yeah, because you would be.
Why?
Because you don't have the right to sleep deprive people.
What do you mean? Wait, I'm just leaving them alone.
That's
Are you locking the door? Are you locking the door?
You should get
Are you
mad at your
locking the
body
door?
Huh?
Are you locking the door?
They would have been locked in there regardless.
Okay, so then you're forcing them in the room.
They were going to be in there regardless.
Are you kidding me right now? You gotta be kidding me.
The point would be, is that you leave them in the. You're saying that if I leave somebody on the island, right, and I don't give them anything, I don't allow them any access to any sort of resource, right, that is not coercive because they're the owner of that property. The police department is also the owner of
No, they're not.
They're not the owner of the fucking the building.
How did they get it? How did they get it?
This is a tangent.
It's not a tangent.
This is a total
No, it's not a
tangent
tangent.
right
They're
now.
not the owners.
This is a total tangent.
No.
This is a total tangent.
Incorrect.
Anyway,
Incorrect.
the point would be,
Incorrect.
you're leaving them in this situation.
You're forcing them into a room and locking the door.
You don't give them. It's a hypothetical, right? Where I'm trying to make this analogous to the island scenario, right? They're in this room.
It's not analogous.
They're in this room, right? And you're saying on the island, oh, well, you should blame your body for getting hungry. Well, the person in the interrogation room should blame their body for getting tired and not being able to go.
Are
to
they
sleep,
allowed?
shouldn't
Are they allowed out of the room?
Why does that matter? Why does that matter?
Because if you're locking them in the room, then you're forcing them in the room, and then that would be a violent coercion.
What if the door automatically locked and then I just
It doesn't matter. Oh my god, bro! You're trying to find any way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Does not matter.
I didn't do it.
It doesn't
they
matter.
just didn't get out of the room fast.
Doesn't
enough.
matter.
They just didn't get out of the room fast.
Doesn't matter.
Enough. I think.
All right. Any next question?
I think that you're just dodging this.
Yeah, you could. Whatever. You could say I'm dodging it, but you're locking somebody in a room. That's an aggression. You're kidnapping.
Aggression.
Yes.
Kidnapping.
Yes. Just ask them if we should enslave farmers because if they don't grow food, people will starve.
Who are you talking to?
That question is for you guys, from my chat.
What was the question?
Ask them if we should enslave farmers because if they don't grow food, people will starve.
Of course not. We don't do that.
Okay. All right, that's it.
So
yeah, I am
got a
live
question.
streaming.
I got a question. So let's say that there's this hypothetical where you own the Noah's Ark, right? And there's going to be this massive flood that comes out and it wipes out the entire Earth, right? And anyone that isn't on your boat is going to die, right? Should you be obliged to let anyone on your boat?
Huh? Yeah, I don't owe you a boat ride.
You know, so you would allow? You think it would be okay for us? Let's say it wasn't your boat. Let's say it was just somebody else's.
Then I know I wouldn't have a right.
You wouldn't. You would just be okay with
the only
being
person
like,
the only person who would have the right to kick me off the boat is the owner.
The owner. It's crazy. So you would allow the whole world to just be
chuck your ass off that boat. It's my boat.
Just for property rights?
I'm gonna toss your ass off that boat.
Just for
well, you know,
rights.
the thing is, the world is not a boat, my friend. We live in a vast world with vast land that you can homestead. It's with plenty of space for everyone, so we don't need to toss people off boats in the middle of the sea.
So you realize, like, if you did that, you would then you would survive that little flood, and then you would be the last person on the earth, and then you would just die, and then there would just be no life left on Earth, all because of your, pretty shitty deontological, worldview.
Wait, what? Say that again.
I said that in that case, if you were to do that, and you were to be the only one that survived the flood because you didn't let anyone on your boat, you would go on to die, and you would be the last person in the human species, and there would be nobody left just because of your property rights.
Well, then maybe I should have let somebody on my boat as opposed to kicking them off.
Right. Maybe we should have let somebody on.
But that doesn't change whether or not there's a voluntary transaction or not.
Oh, it hasn't been so. You don't care if every single human in the world, including you, will die.
Yes, I don't
just
care.
Because you won't
get them off
you,
my boat. Get them off my boat. Yes.
This makes no sense.
I don't care. I'm just such I'm just like such a narcissist that like seeing the world burn is just would be my greatest pleasure. And
well, you might as well just be like an accelerationist at this point.
I just want to watch the world burn.
Well, then yeah, that's why that explains like your capitalism because you're an accelerationist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then what's the point of debating you on if this is like a good worldview or not?
Because you're making the most brain dead arguments I've ever heard in my fucking life, and I'm just like clocked out at this point. Oh my god, you're making my brain hurt with all these stupid ass fucking arguments you're making.
You just admitted that you want to see the entire world burn. You're an accelerationist.
Yes.
Okay, so like you're basically
obviously I'm joking. I don't really give a shit.
Stop rage baiting.
Oh my god, you're literally
Stop rage baiting,
King. You're literally killing me, bro.
Sorry, this is just like a virgin ideology. I don't know.
Also, King.
There wouldn't be virgins in anarcho-capitalistan. You know why? Because we'd have prostitution would be completely illegal. Go ahead.
I mean, it's pretty.
King, put in your username. Put in your server name that you're live streaming. People need to know it's against the server rules.
Dude, it's literally in the name, ANCAP, a debate, and then under it says live streaming.
It really?
Yes, look at it.
Okay, you did it. Okay, doubly.
Wait, if I just change it, then are you breaking the rules? Not live streaming.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
That's why I said if you own the channel, put it in the channel name. They won't be able to change it.
How about this? I'll do this.
Put it in the channel name and then boom.
All right, so we're not breaking it.
You're even gonna get like more members in the VC.
All right, there you go. Is that okay now? Is that fix it?
Fuck yeah.
All right, thank you. Can someone please
now
like
now
make
you
better
can now you
arguments
can
than
now
this
they
guy,
can
please?
now
He's
now they
making my
can
brain
now they
hurt.
can King now they can consent to live stream.
Oh, of course, of course. I wouldn't want to violate the NAP or anything like that. Yeah.
I mean, you're a big consent guy, right? So like,
Yeah, of
you
course.
should know. Yeah.
Wouldn't want to go against my principles.
Exactly. See, consistency.
Yes.
Your principles that would lead to the whole world being killed.
Yes. Yes, I want
You
the
were
world
putting
to be
him
killed.
in absurd hypothetical.
I know, right? He
What
gave me
is
the
he
most
gonna do?
ridiculous
Like,
hypothetical.
No one's
Like-
That's the point. It's to point out the absurdity in your
isekai
worldview.
anime.
Do you
No,
not
so
understand?
wait, let me mediate. Let me like mediate.
You gave me like a Noah's Ark situation, like.
So,
Of course,
yeah,
point
let
out
me-
the
let me- let me
absurdity
try
in
to-
your
let me try to-
worldview.
let- no,
You would literally let the whole
Tyler.
world die just for property rights. That's absurd.
Tyler, let me make this like a little easier.
And I
right?
want it to happen.
King here believes that if there is sex, consent, and both parties, let's say I go to a woman, right? She has a very cool cake. Alrighty, no pun intended. She has a very cool pizza in her fucking fridge, right? I want that pizza. I really love pizzas, right?
Mhm.
And she says, okay, I'm gonna smash you though. And I say, you know what? Yeah, sure. I'll fucking do it for the pizza.
Wait, yeah.
And then she says, yeah, and then you can have the pizza. And then you can just go home. And then I've been
Based.
particularly feeling, I've been feeling like doing something, so I'm gonna fucking do it with you. And then I'm like, yeah, sure. And then we fucking do shit. She's happy, I'm happy because I get the pizza. Of course, a man would always only want the
good to me.
pizza, not the woman. So,
Sounds
after that.
Wait, do you think sex work is real work?
What?
Sex work is real work, right?
Yeah, so my only thing, but like I'm pretty sure that doesn't really happen, is the thing like, okay, don't do that, come on.
Sorry,
You're
sorry,
better.
I'm sorry.
You're better. Yeah, the only thing is that like, if there's like any forcing going on, then I'm not. Like the person who is doing the sex work should have full autonomy and doing it because they want to do it, just like any work, right? I wouldn't want to force someone to build my house, just like I wouldn't want to force someone to do sex work. It's just like that.
So sex work is
I
real
think,
work.
like, yeah, and it should be treated like that, so no
Based.
forcing.
Yes, based.
I think
The government
there
rapes
was, like...
my wallet every day.
Alrighty. Why did you say that on live stream?
That's perfectly fine. You can say whatever you want on YouTube, except for certain words.
You're on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually live streaming on every platform at once: Kick, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube.
How do you do that? How
So
can
there's
I
a
live
website.
stream on like
Yeah, so there's a website called Restream. You can subscribe to their service, and they let you live stream to pretty much, and you just log into the websites on the website. You connect your accounts to the website, and then it'll allow you to live stream to any website all at once. And then when you go into your OBS, you just put that stream key for the Restream website, and then it'll like and then you can edit from the website the titles and everything on the website.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like super useful, and I so like
you could say you consent to them using your services.
Yes. Yes.
Alright. What is any other hot takes your chat have? I don't.
Sex work is real work. I think that
Yeah, give him like the most
taxation is
controversial
theft.
take to defend.
I don't think animals have rights. I think animals don't have rights.
See, it's a very funny thing, right? When they say like, okay, animals don't already, bro. Okay, chill out on that part real quick, right? We're not gonna fucking put 10 cows in 10 centimeter space, right? Okay.
Well, animals don't have rights.
Alrighty, man.
KingSithis, is it okay to rape animals, do you think, or what's your
Should we free the nipple?
I mean, if you're the owner of the animal, I don't care what you do to it.
Oh, so you're okay with people raping animals?
What do you mean by like okay with it? Like, do I think someone should be stopped from doing it? Is if it's on their own property? Like, I don't care. No, I don't.
I'm asking if you think it's permissible to rape animals. That's the question.
It depends on what you mean by permissible. Like, should someone be stopped if they do it?
No. You don't know what permissible means? It means it's not bad and not good. It's morally
personally, I think it's bad. Like, I don't think people should do that.
Personally.
But legally, I don't think someone should be stopped if it's their property.
So like, you don't think it's okay to rape animals? You think it's bad to rape animals?
Personally, but legally, no.
Okay,
wait.
How is that question to be legally interpreted? Do you think it's okay to rape animals? Legally, no. Like, what does that even mean?
Well, legally in the sense is I don't think just the law applies to animals. So.
Well, that's nowhere near the question at all. I'm just asking if you think it's okay to rape animals or not.
Personally, no.
The answer, okay, yeah. So it's morally bad to rape animals, correct?
Like again,
that's not an question.
How do you?
It depends on what you mean by morals. Like, do I personally think it's wrong to rape animals? Yes. Do I think
You don't
someone
know
should
what I
be?
mean by morals.
Do I think someone? Do I think that someone should be stopped from raping an animal if it's their property?
Listen, dude,
no.
you're answering different questions. That wasn't the question. I didn't ask
think
you. Should somebody be stopped? That wasn't the question. The question
I personally think people should rape animals? No.
Okay, so you think it's bad to rape animals morally,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
That's
Thank
what
you.
that means.
That was it. That was it.
I was just clarifying. I don't see why you're getting so upset.
You weren't clarifying. You're just answering different questions.
I literally asked you what you meant by morals.
Why does this nigga sound like the nerd emoji, bro? What the Tyler, do you hear it?
Yeah, why didn't you respond to my DM?
So I'm just muting the guy on my end, so I can't hear him anymore.
You can't mute people. You can turn his volume down.
That's what I did.
You're violating the NAP right now, dude. What the fuck?
Well, he said the N-word, so I'm not gonna have somebody say that on my live stream.
Don't say that shit. Well, you're fucking over here asking me to moderate. I'm not gonna just fucking moderate him and then fucking not moderate you. What the fuck are you talking about? No. I'm not.
As far as I could tell, saying the N-word goes against the rules. So if you want to moderate me,
that's why I told him to stop. Stop. No, I don't care. You're not gonna do that shit, and I'm just gonna break the rules. But you didn't even respond to my DM, so like, fuck you.
Also, it just shows who won the debate when, as soon as he didn't have an argument against what I said, he called me a nerd.
It's not about winning. Chill, bro.
No, I won the debate. It is about winning. I love winning debates. I won. My favorite ANCAP book? Oh, it's a Spontaneous Order by Chase Rachels. I actually got it right here.
He's live streaming on Twitch as well.
Yeah, as the title of the group thing would suggest.
I thought it was very rhetorical. I guess I need them. A private VC? Sure, you can make your own. I'll join.
Bro.
You can call me.
Bro, no, I'm gonna third wheel your ass so hard. Okay. Get me in there. Alrighty.
Hey, I'm not making any of you guys stay here.
Oh. There they go. This one person says Spontaneous Order is mid.
They did?
The side chat. Yeah, it's a...
How dare you.
What is Spontaneous Order about?
Superior, Anarch, Mellow? Oh, Joy, bro, are you an ANCAP? I'm gonna add you as a friend. Based. I think Spontaneous Order is pretty good. feel like it covers a lot of topics. And it's easy to get into. But I feel like I'm a bit biased because it was my first ANCAP book, so. Hey, what's going on, Lex?
Question.
What's your question? I'm live streaming, by the way, guys, so I don't if I'm talking
I've always
randomly,
wanted to play WoW.
so I'm talking to chat sometimes. World of Warcraft is the funnest game.
Yeah, so how do the courts work in an ANCAP state?
You would hire it. It would work the same way as private courts work right now. But it would deal with like more stuff.
Okay, like let's say break the law, and then who's gonna be like the
I'm a
arbiter of
truck
this?
driver and don't have a lot of time to grind.
So give me 1 second. I'm gonna answer this guy's question. I mean, the thing about World of Warcraft is if you don't have a lot of time to grind, I mean, your character's always going to be there, so you could kind of grind at your own pace if you really want to. You know, don't feel forced to go into the end game straight away. You know what I mean? Also, for your question, what was your question?
Like, is the arbiter of like who broke a contract or something, or like I steal something? Is the arbiter of this just the highest bidder, like whoever pays the court more?
Oh no, it would be based. So if I have a private security agency overlooking me, and the other person, we both have competing private security agencies that are looking over each other, and then you commit some sort of crime to me, I'll go to my private security agency and say, hey, this guy committed a crime against me. I'll show you the evidence. I show the evidence. Then they take it to that private security agency. You say, oh, no, I didn't do it. So you basically take it to court, some third-party court. They would hire some third-party court to look over the evidence. It comes to some sort of decision. Once that decision is made by that third-party court that they both agree to, whatever decision is made is what will be carried out.
Yeah, but what gives this third-party court its like just authority? Like,
because they both agree to whatever that arbitrator decides.
Why?
Because it's both in their best interest to do that, as opposed to fighting. So in today's world, right? When one company, let's say I commit a crime and then I run to Canada. Canada generally is not gonna sit there and just allow me to commit a crime and stay in their country. So if America has evidence that I've committed some sort of crime or whatever, they're gonna hand me over to them because they have evidence. And it would work kind of the same thing with like two competing private agencies who are paying some third-party court. It would be if they both agree to what the court says, whatever the outcome that the arbitrator is deciding, well then that whatever outcome that the arbitrator decides is the outcome that will take place.
I don't think it's pretty gay.
I mean, if you want, I could send you a YouTube video on law without government that could go much more deeper than if you want me to, but you don't have to.
I guess. Is there any example of this actually working, or is it just like an idea?
There is examples of this working all the time. So, for instance, when you get into a car accident with another insurance agency, most of the time they don't even take it to court. They just look at the evidence based on what happened, and then they go on based on the decision. And if you get into a car accident with another car, the company Geico isn't just going to take your word for it. They're going to look at the evidence, and even if you're at fault, they're not going to just take your side because you're paying them. They're going to pick the side of the person who's correct, because that is sort of based on their reputation. If their reputation, if their customer base is based on their reputation and they break that reputation, well then their customer base is going to leave because it's a consensual transaction.
Well, if they're doing enough to like abuse the customers, I think eventually they'll get held legally culpable, right? And also, I think the reason that companies settle out of court is because of what they think would happen if they did go to court, and the court does have some kind of like, you would hope, like just authority other than just, money, right? Like,
well, money can incentivize individuals to, I would argue a private court would be more incentivized to be non-biased, because it is that's quite literally what they're being paid to do. If they are biased, well, then they won't get paid. Whereas a state, it doesn't matter whether they're biased or not biased, they get paid anyways. Because they have a group of people whom which they could forcefully extract wealth from at any moment in which they're running low on funds.
But it's a democratically elected government, hopefully, right? Like there's some kind of thing to hold it accountable.
Democracy doesn't make it okay for you to violate property rights. So, for instance, if you're on an island and there's 10 guys and there's one woman and they agree to rape the one woman, I would argue that would still be unjust, despite the fact that they voted for it.
Well, I'd say it's just because they voted for it. It's just there's some hope that the government would be held accountable. I mean, I could say the same thing. I mean, you could say the same. Are you saying nothing immoral
can I answer
would ever
a question
happen in
from my chat real quick? So this Discord is called the Modern Day Debate Discord, and that is a YouTube channel. So if you want to find it, I would recommend going to their YouTube channel and then clicking in the description, and then you will find the Discord. And then I made a room in the Discord called Debate and ANCAP, and that's why these guys are asking me questions. Continue, my friend.
Okay, so I'm not saying every decision that a democratically elected government ever comes to is morally good, but you wouldn't also say that Ancapistan would be a moral utopia, right? There would still be bad things that happen.
I would say. No, I'm just kidding. No, obviously bad things are going to happen, but why I would support Ancapistan is just we're dealing with those situations in a consensual, rightful way, as opposed to the state where they're forcefully extracting wealth from people in order to pay for other people's disputes, which I think is immoral. My disputes are my own, and therefore I should be the one to pay for the consequences of whatever dispute I'm in. Or if I have, it's fundamentally justice isn't free. Justice costs money, in order to get. And just because justice costs money, that doesn't give you a right to force someone else to pay for your justice.
So if I'm poor, I don't have justice?
No, that's not true. We believe in charity.
Charity? Mm-hmm. You think charity is going to fund,
it could.
Justice for the poor?
It could. If they weren't taxed so much by the state, and they'd have a little bit of, and people weren't taxed so much by the government and had all this inflation, people would have a little bit extra money to spend on, to help poor people.
Right now, I can send you links to multiple charities where $5,000 can save one human life, and still millions of people with more than $5,000 lying around just don't donate to these charities. So if $5,000 can save a life, what makes you think in this utopian society people are going to spend enough to fund a court in a affluent nation? Courts aren't cheap.
That's assuming, people have money lying around, but that doesn't
they do.
But there are also other ways to incentivize people to pay for people's court hearings. There's also, for instance, if you have evidence that a person has committed a crime against you, you can go to an agency group of lawyers that basically will look over the case, and if they see that you have a case, what they'll say is, hey, I'll take over this case and we'll represent you so long as you give me a proportion of the money that you'll get as restitution for the crime committed against you. And then there you go. And then you could basically, and so long as they're able to choose freely, I lost what I was saying. Go ahead.
I don't know. I guess
had a brain fart.
My main point is just I don't believe in charity, because anyone in an affluent nation can already donate to charity and do an enormous amount of good, and people just don't.
Well, even so, I gave you another example where you don't need charity, where for instance, if you have evidence that another person committed a crime against you, you just show it to a lawyer, and then they could be like, hey, I'll cover you, and then you basically. And then, after they prove it, they could, take some of the money, and then they're good to go. And they actually have that in real life. There's some courts where they'll be like, hey, if you have evidence that, you fell down at your job or whatever, and, you don't even have to pay us. We'll just take some of the money from whatever you're going to get paid, because they know you're going to get money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said you lost your train of thought, but I think what you were trying to say is that, it's charity, but you can take commission out of the charity that you're giving. Is that what you were trying to get at?
Well, I wouldn't consider that charity. I would more consider that to be just, Because the charity would like I would consider charity to be like you're just paying for the person because you want to help the person. What you're not in that situation, you're expecting money afterwards. So I would more consider it to be a service.
If you win.
Yeah. Oh well.
Like if you're a lawyer.
But they're generally a lawyer's not going to take the case unless they're going to win, because if not, then they would lose money.
No, but I'm saying like if you take it like I'm not sure if pro bono means absolutely that you just don't even benefit whatsoever from the case, but it's like if you're like a little old assistant or whatever working at a giant company, right, and you're suing for something, sexism, racism, whatever, like the lawyer knows that you can't like afford to hire them properly, but they're going to take the bet because they go, well, but the target here is a big fish.
Yeah, but if they lose, nobody makes money, nobody gets paid, so they're going to be incentivized to do everything they can to because if they lose, you're not going to have the money, they're not going to have the money. But if they win, you're going to have the money, and they're going to have a portion of that money. So they're going to be incentivized to make sure to win, because if they don't win, they don't have shit.
I know they want to make sure to win, but it's not up to them if they win. They just take the bets.
Well, if they have evidence, it's going to be up to them. It's not a bet. If you have evidence, these people don't just show up with nothing. It's not a bet. It's not a slot machine that you put a quarter in and then you hope you win. If you have evidence, you're going to win.
No, you have evidence until there's like counter evidence, right?
Well, if there's counter evidence, the person who's making the claim has to display evidence. If you want another person to represent you, you have to pay them somehow. And generally what would incentivize them would be the fact that you have evidence to go against them. And if you have no evidence, then the person's not going to take the case because they know that you're not going to win and they won't get shit.
Well, that depends on a couple things. One, whether the lawyer's intelligent enough to know this or not. Two,
well, I would
secondly,
assume so because they're lawyers. You know, I don't think lawyers are dumb.
Oh, not.
But that would be on him. If he loses the case, then he doesn't get shit. That's on him. That's his fault for being incompetent.
Like lawyers adopt all sorts of cases and they don't adopt a case in any regard across the spectrum, like, but they guarantee that they're going to win.
Well, yeah.
Like
if you have evidence.
Lose. Yeah, it's like let's say your client presents you with a certain amount of evidence saying, all right, is the juice worth the squeeze? Should we go for this? You go, sure. And they go for it, and then they see the counter evidence. They see the proper context, and they go, well, I'm already in it already. And it's like, shit, I didn't know this. I didn't know that my client was lying about
They could quit. They could be like, hey, based on the evidence, I don't think you're going to win, and I'm sorry, I'm backing out the deal, and then leave.
They could do that, but they don't always do that.
Well, that's up to them. That's not on them.
Okay, but I'm saying
that you can't save people from making bad decisions, man.
Yeah, but
sometimes bad decisions happen.
But I'm saying that like the lawyer takes a calculated risk, saying, "All right, I think my client will probably win this one, based on the evidence that she presented me." Let's say.
Well, that's why it's up to them to do their research, right?
Yeah, but even if but once you're in the weeds, like once you're actually in it, and then you start to. If they halfway through,
if they find out that there's evidence that goes against their client, then they could be like, "Hey, it seems like you don't have any evidence to support your claim, so therefore I'm not going to represent you anymore." There you go, boom, done, easy, simple.
Yeah, but then it gets then it gets into a game of like us versus you, he said, she said. So it really does become a matter of opinion.
It becomes a game of who has evidence. If you have evidence for it, then you could win. If you don't have evidence, then you don't win. Yeah, that's how it should work, right?
Well, that's how it should work.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like but by that point you've already invested your time. Like you could be handling like real clients who will actually pay you real money.
What are you even arguing? Like, what are you even arguing at this point, dude? Like, why are you just trying to win? Are you just trying to win, or like?
No, calm down. I'm not. No, I actually like listening to you because I think you sounded like I just sat here quietly because I thought you sounded intelligent. You're like,
I'm just getting confused as to what you're arguing. That's all. No, I was laughing at your compliment. I appreciate your compliment.
Why are you laughing at the compliment?
Because it makes me feel good. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, but I'm not trying to win anything. I'm having a discussion. Okay, there's no winning. It's just a discussion.
There is winning.
No winning
when you're live streaming.
Okay, well.
And I'm winning.
Okay, so that's like you can say the magic words, you're winning because you're live streaming and you feel a certain pressure to like declare yourself some sort of victor. It's like if you just acknowledge the fact that
I'm
it's
winning
a
objectively because I have the best arguments and I'm an ANCAP, so I'm on the moral high ground.
Okay. I see you're just like a magic words guy. Okay.
Yes.
Well, anyways, I thought you were like a good faith conversationist, but I guess not. You're
No,
just
I'm
a guy
not.
who's like, yeah, you're like a theatrical, you're just here for the pageantry.
Yes.
Okay. Thinking true.
I debate people for fun.
Well,
yes.
now that well, so do I.
Okay, so then you're doing the same thing that I'm doing that you were just accusing me of.
I debate for fun, but you call it debate or conversation. But I'm just having a conversation. I'm just saying that like lawyers enter these transactions with
Wait
clients
a minute.
and, like,
Let's just wait a
people.
second. You just like broke my balls
Yes.
about something, and then you just admitted that you do the same thing.
So I'm not trying to win. I'm having a conversation.
Listen. Though,
Obviously,
at
I'm not
least
trying to win. I'm just joking around.
KingSithis does not debate like a mender, so that's a W.
I'm just joking around. Obviously, I'm not. Obviously, there's no winning or losing. It's just no objective winning. Obviously, I'm being.
Yeah, you are. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Whatever.
Anyways, go ahead with your argument. I was just messing with you. Go ahead. And I hate Amender. God, that guy is so annoying. Ugh. Go ahead.
Okay, the point being is that like the lawyer is halfway through the case. It could be right through depositions or whatever before they find out that their client was either lying or exaggerating, or they had a certain amount of evidence that brought the lawyer to have the confidence to pursue a case. They could quit, but sometimes they don't because they're like, well, I could still win this.
Well, that's on them.
Okay, well, yeah, of course it is. I'm not saying it's not. But you're saying
what's the
that you,
problem?
but you said the why you took opposition is because you said lawyers only take cases that they know for a fact they're gonna win.
Well, generally, okay. Then I'll caveat what I said. Generally, lawyers go for cases that they're gonna win. They don't want to go for losing cases. No.
Sure. Yes.
Unless they're gonna get paid like a lot of money to represent someone who they know they're gonna lose. So they'll just take it just to make the money. But generally, like they want to win.
Yeah. Yeah, they could do that, but yeah. But it's like if you said.
But
like,
I feel like that's just like that
assuming-
is like the most. I just feel like that's like a very like I don't know nitpicky thing to. I don't know. Very
Well, to
nitpicky.
take you literally at your word. I was just taking your argument literally.
Okay, so
I'm just
like,
saying,
let's say I went to the store and I was like, I like chocolate donuts. I was like, okay, so does that mean that you eat chocolate donuts for every meal of the day? And it's like, well, no, obviously, I just like to eat chocolate donuts when you say you like to eat chocolate donuts, so that means I'm just taking what you're saying at face value, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, yeah, obviously, okay, whatever, dude.
In that instance, you would have said, you said that I go to the store because I always eat chocolate donuts and I only eat chocolate donuts. And I'd be saying like, wait, do you literally only go to the store because you only buy chocolate donuts? You go,
Okay.
no, I just meant to say that
I see what
like
we're doing here. So
Like
was
a-
it? Wait, Big Ben, are you an ANCAP too?
Yeah, I was the guy who was in the TikTok live stream who was asking me to join, but I am ANCAP.
Oh, Base, you sound like a kid. Are you a kid?
I'm 14.
Okay, got you. That's good that you are learning about anarcho-capitalism at a young age. That's
Yeah,
good.
I after
Leave
Trump-
this server immediately before you get brainwashed.
Oh, I think
after,
we already did that.
After Trump bombed Iran, I did a little research on things besides republicanism, and I ended up reading Murray Rothbard's Anatomy of the State and Ethics of Liberty, and so that's what transitioned me into an ANCAP.
Base, yeah, definitely good. If you join my Discord, we have a lot of resources in there. We have a lot of people in there that are also ANCAPs. So
Yeah, I already did. I already joined it.
yeah, so we'll little pretty chill ANCAP community. There's but there's no porn, there's no crazy nothing, so anyone
Yeah.
But all right, is there anyone else with any arguments? Send me a link to your Discord. Yeah, I got you. Did you add me back as a friend? Yes, you did.
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking to Milo.
Alright.
Alright, I'm sending that to you. There you go. I'm just trying to build a community of ANCAPs here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And doing whatever we can to try to push as much just do as much as we can to try to push as much of the ideology to people as we can, because the thing about anarcho-capitalism is it's a very niche ideology. Not a lot of people understand it, and most of what people know about it is just the most
I agree.
They don't really know. They don't understand it.
I was on a TikTok comment section, and I had of course my background's the ANCAP flag, and somebody asked me I don't even remember what I was discussing, but some random person just asked me what the age of consent is, because I think there's a big stigma with people who are ANCAP, they're all pedophiles, and that's something I don't like.
Well, the thing about it is, we're not pedophiles. The problem is, what we say is that there is no set age in which you can say a person turns into an adult. Every person turns into an adult at a different age. So, for instance, what is NCAP? It's not NCAP, ANCAP, 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 anarcho-capitalist. Sorry, I was just answering my chat. So the thing is, there are some people who have mental issues and they age after 18. There are people who are age a little bit older than, younger than, become an adult a little bit younger than 18. So this whole idea that once you turn 18, you're automatically an adult doesn't really hold consistent to anarcho-capitalists. You become an adult when you become an adult, not when the government says you're an adult. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people stretch that into saying oh, well, that means that you're okay with having sex with children or whatever, blah, 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 which is a bunch of nonsense. Obviously, generally the age in which we would, say a person turns into an adult obviously is 18. But it's inconsistent to say that everyone turns 18 into an adult at 18. Nobody agrees to that.
Something I don't like in America is how you can be, I think it's 18 to smoke cigarettes, I believe, but it's 21 to gamble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're not an adult. Are you not an adult? So you know what I mean? When you're 18, you can't, because if you're an adult when you're 18, so you should be allowed to drink. You should be allowed to, do other things that, or smoke cigarettes. Now they turned it up to 21.
Yeah.
So
you can be conscripted to go to war, but you can't gamble. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. So that's just, again, people just stretch that principle and then they turn it into something that is a bit ridiculous. Obviously, we believe that people who are not adults should not engage in any sexual intercourse with anyone that is above that is an adult. When a person is below a certain age, their mind isn't basically fully developed, and the only thing that you could do with a person that is, when their brain isn't fully developed, is to take on the guardianship role of that person. And the guardianship role isn't that mean that you are the owner of that person. It just means that you are basically protecting that person or preserving that person's life until their will is able to be known. Because when a person is not an adult, because their brain isn't fully developed, that means that their will isn't really known. So until their will is known, all you can do is preserve that person until they're able to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically generally like a parent or somebody who's an adult, an adopted parent or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we view children.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should definitely check out a Spontaneous Order.
People. I will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading. I'm reading. What am I reading right now? Hold on, let me check what it is.
Have you heard of Liquid Zulu?
No.
If you have not, check out his YouTube channel. Yeah, go subscribe to him.
I might have watched some videos, but I'm reading Economics in One Lesson right now.
That's a good book. Yeah, Henry Hazlitt's book.
Yo, Big Ben. If you wanna understand economics in a modern sense, I recommend you read Economics by Ha-Joon Chang. He's one of the leading economists in the 21st century, and the book is isn't that math heavy. So if you understand basics of economics, you should be able to get it.
Yeah.
I would more lead you to Austrian economists as opposed to any economists today.
That's where I read a lot of my stuff is
more Austrian economists.
The Mises Institute.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe some Chicago economists are pretty good, but generally Austrian guys are the best in my opinion.
Yeah. Something I also don't like is that I hate how people hate on Hans Hermann Hoppe. I feel like that's unjust. It's just because he's a conservative and he doesn't gay people is what I would say, or I guess that's blown out of proportion. That's something I really don't like. Is that how people? I guess it's hotphobia. That's what people call it.
Well, fundamentally, your personal opinion on whether or not people should be gay or not is completely separate from whether or not you believe someone should be stopped from being gay, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Herman Hoppe would never say the state should come in and stop someone from being gay. He would never say that. Yeah. He would most likely say like, oh, I personally think people shouldn't be gay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, like when I was arguing, animals don't have rights, right? That's not me saying, oh, I think somebody should go out and fuck a dog or whatever, right? That's just me saying that. That's just me acknowledging that it's inconsistent for a person to say, oh, well, you can kill a dog and eat a dog and do experiments on a dog, but I can't do this with a dog. Well, no, if it's your property, that's your property, and you can do whatever you want. That's not me saying I think people should do that, but that's just acknowledging a fact that it's your property, and that's and that's just kind of how it is. You know, that's why there's also a lot of people who are called themselves alt caps, right? They're alt-right guys, they're racists or whatever. And they support anarcho-capitalism because what they want to do is create Ancapistan so that they can buy their own land and then start their own white land, whatever. Now, I don't support that. I mean, I don't support like the ideology of white supremacy. But if they're private property owners, and then I don't see an issue with that personally.
Yeah, racism has never made much sense to me personally. I think it's just racism has always been a way to divide the people instead of just trying to, that's what I mean.
Yeah, like I seen this one YouTube video that's been kind of going viral lately where they're talking about like it was like a group of white people who just bought some land somewhere in some state.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I don't know exactly where, and people are like, oh my god, what they're doing is wrong. And I'm just like, well, I mean, if they're the owner of the land, right, that's their right. They could fucking if as long as they're not forcing anybody into it, they're not violating anyone's rights, then if a group of white people want to buy some land and live on that land and do what they want to do, then I think that, hey, have at it.
Yeah.
And I'm Puerto Rican myself, so yeah. So I'm not like a white guy trying to be a white savior or whatever.
Anybody else have anything to say? I felt like I've talked on for a while.
Honestly, I'm getting pretty tired. I've been streaming for like 3 hours now. What you think of the live stream? Did you like it?
Yeah, that's entertaining.
What do you think of my debate skills? You think I'm alright? Epic
Oh
debater?
yeah.
You know what? What makes me a good debater is the fact that I do a lot of reading. What makes so if you want to, first thing you want to do is you just want to understand economics. You want to understand the ideology of anarcho-capitalism, and best way to do that is by watching either some of the best YouTubers like Liquid Zulu, me, some other good YouTubers, or like going to the source material, which would be the books and stuff like that. So yeah, you definitely want to just read up and listen up to all that shit.
A question I have is so I've talked with a few people online, and one of the biggest things that frustrates me, and I don't really know how to reply to it, is that there's people out there that believe that private property is a social construct, that it doesn't exist, and that therefore that you can't own private property, and so this is an agreement, and that really frustrates me. I can't stand that.
Well, fundamentally, private property isn't a physical object in which you can touch. It is a construct that we made. There are correct in that saying. But we all believe in private property. What I would say is we all believed in private property to some degree, right? So, for instance, if you use your body, because your body is a scarce resource, you're basically claiming ownership over your body. So the second that you move your body, touch your body, you use it in a way, and to achieve any way of end, you're basically saying I am the owner of my body, at least of your body, right? So then to that degree, you're saying, hey, I am the owner of this thing. So you're saying I believe in property rights. So my thing is just like, okay, yeah, it may be a social construct, but it's a social construct in which we all believe. We all believe in property rights to some degree. Then it's just like, okay, well, do you believe you own your car? Do you believe you own your house? Do you believe you own your money that you earn? I mean, even socialists too, they believe that the worker should own the means of production, right? So if they own the means of production, what is that? That's their property, right? So obviously they believe in property to a certain degree too. So everyone believes in private property. Even if you could see, you know, it may not be a physical object in which I could literally hand to you, but we all believe in it. And the reason why we believe in private property is because we live in a world of scarcity, and property is basically how we decide what goes to who, because we can't always use every object at the same time as another person. So in order to figure out what goes to who, we assign property rights, and that's how it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I'm going to bed, so, you know, I hope you guys have a good night, man.
All right, good night.
And yeah, the live stream, I hope you guys too have a good night too.